So I'll just see how big I can make this. I'll put this off screen like that. And I'll make this nice and big. You know, I'll just cover my screen since you don't want to look at my face anyway because I'll be delayed. All right. Good. We got sound working on both ends now. Fantastic. Sorry about that. All right, let's see if Jeran's in the chat. Has he said anything? Or is he going to ghost me? That would be funny. Sound is so strong you can hear me too. I'll try not to toot. Oh, there he is. Let me follow him back. There you go. Now I just sent you a request, so hop on in.
There we go.
There he is. There he is.
Figure it out eventually.
Yeah, the restream to YouTube is always rough on TikTok. I don't know.
Are you doing this on YouTube too?
I'm just restreaming it, yeah. And for some reason, the desktop capture was causing me to sound like a robot, apparently.
All right.
But we figure it out. We figure it out.
You can hear me okay?
Yeah, I got you.
Right.
Let me expand both. There we go. Give me equal screen here.
I should have more of the screen, really.
Okay, I can do that slightly, just slightly bigger.
I've been around longer.
That's true. This is all screwed up my background now. All right, let's turn that off. You know, they make, let's see if this is any better. Oh,
And why do you have a second account?
So, if you haven't, man, none of these things look good because they're all stretched. I'll just leave it. Let me turn it off. It looks dumb. I'm trying to avoid this in the background, which I can't do on TikTok, but I have on YouTube set up nice. So anyway, my main account, you know, where I have all my followers, where I built my following over the last 4 years, was permanently live banned 2 years ago.
What was the reason for that?
They never really tell you on TikTok. It was misinformation. If I remember, I think it was hate speech.
Alrighty.
I can tell you I wasn't the one doing any hate speech, but
So then you can still post videos on that account. You just can't go live.
yeah, they just live banned me, but they didn't ban my whole account.
Weird.
Yeah, so I started a new account just so I can go live.
Right.
But yeah, so I was actually playing. We had a bunch of people in the live, and we were playing clips from Caleb, who you're familiar with, and he was going off on a little tirade on Schittler and how he wasn't saying bad things. I got to be careful what I say around here. That he was just asking the Jewish people to leave nicely, and he was pretty much saying he was misunderstood. So we were playing that audio clip of him doing that, and he was doing that on his podcast with Derek. If you remember Derek, Dare-I-K, Unearthed 5D Reality, I believe the name.
Is he still around?
No.
I was gonna say I haven't seen him in a while.
He had to take a break because he was apparently gotten himself into some bad debt doing this.
Oh, okay.
He came back after he disappeared. He came back and made like one video and was like, "This is why I've been away." So he had to get like second or third jobs or something to pay off the debt he racked up trying to make this into a thing on TikTok.
Gotcha.
So yeah, it was. So I got live banned for showing his audio, and he never got banned.
And do you make money doing this?
No. There's no money on it. Zero. I can't say zero. You get paid for views, but I've been pretty much shadow banned pretty heavily for a few years now. I've been reported so much. I think I'm just, my videos used to get tens of thousands, hundreds of thousands of views. Now they're like down to like 2,000, 5,000.
I know that feeling.
Yeah. So I'm not getting, they don't, even when I was making even when I was getting that many views, I mean, you were getting paid shit on TikTok. I mean,
yeah, I don't think I've talked to anybody who's making money necessarily on TikTok.
I mean, you need hundreds of thousands of followers. Then you need to start selling stuff. You need to like really push the TikTok shop.
Right.
If you're pushing TikTok shop, you'll make money because that's the only thing you see on TikTok nowadays. Every other video is someone selling something. So.
Yep. And they're all very honest about their products too. Everything.
Oh yeah.
I see all these ones where they're like brushing their teeth and like spit out and it's like brown and their teeth are all white. It's like, who the fuck's believing that? Like they just found some magical potion.
Yeah, it's some purple liquid that just magically makes your teeth white. What I love about the TikTok.
Figured this out for 35 years just to, you just figured it out.
Yeah, TikTok figured it out. Yeah. What I love about TikTok Shop is if you watch something and you like it and you're like, oh, I'm kind of interested in that product. If you go over to Amazon, you can find it cheaper.
Yeah, I'm sure. It's just people selling it anyway.
Yeah, just go over to Amazon and you get it faster and cheaper. Yeah. Yep. Yeah. So welcome in.
Thank you.
I figured we'd have a little chat real quick and then we'll let some people ask some questions.
Sure.
Cool. So
how old are you? We seem maybe the same age.
43 this year.
I
think you're a little
45.
Oh, all right. I would have put you younger.
1980. Yeah, with a 25-year-old son. So
25-year-old son.
I got 25 and a 4. Smart. Intelligent, aren't I?
Nothing like a small age gap there. Yeah, mine are 7 and 10. So
well, that's a little smaller age gap.
Yeah.
Slightly more smarts than me.
Tried to get it over with pretty quick. Yeah.
Good thinking.
But that's why my live schedule is rough. It's bedtime's 8.
Right.
They're not asleep till 9:30. I got to rush and do this, and then I'm up late, and then at our age, you're up late and it ruins your whole day. The next day is ruined.
Right.
Yeah.
I
always get carried away too. I can't just do a couple hours. I'll just turn around. Suddenly it'll be 3 a.m. I'll be like, oh.
That's me too. I don't know what that is. People always get mad at my live streams are way too long, but it's like once I'm there and the thing's open and the audience is there, then that's the time to talk.
Yeah, and you don't even notice
setup and everything else I hate.
Well, yeah, like this, take 20 minutes to get everything to work, and
right.
YouTube's way. I'm just starting to do that now. So YouTube's way more complicated. And I think that's the draw of TikTok to a lot of these people. And
yeah, especially being from YouTube, it's like, I think it's the opposite, but yeah. It's
just really?
I mean, it's just what you're used to. I mean, when I started YouTube, there was no live streaming. So that's kind of the big change is that, I was there for the whole live streaming to begin. And then because it's so easy to live stream versus to upload videos, that's why nobody really uploads videos anymore. Not as much as they used to.
Yeah, they're just doing lives now.
Yeah, I mean, the reason I think people do that is because back when we used to have to make videos, you'd have to do some research, right? You'd have to research, and then you'd have to put something together, and then put out a video, and it would take a couple days. But now people could just go live, and they don't even need to do any research. They just need to bring up other people, talk about other people, and so that that's why you have a bunch of crap now. A lot worse than it used to be.
Yeah, I guess that's why TikTok's in the flat Earth community has been crap from the beginning, because that's the format right from the start. It's here's a live. Most people just go live, and it's a free for all. You can just let people up and down as you please.
Yeah, you're kind of like self-moderating your own debates in a way, which is weird.
Yeah, so the community here has really gotten weird. It's gotten really weird. I've been here about 4 years, maybe a little. I don't even know anymore. Stop counting. I probably don't even want to know. But in the beginning, it was cool. They were debunking. There was videos being made. I'd make a debunk video. Um, there'd be lives. You'd hop in lives. You'd have debates, on the spot debates, if you want to call them debates. Um, People would host debates, and just let people up one at a time and have debate discussions. But it's gotten very, very hostile.
Yeah.
And I'm sure you're seeing that on your side that you deal with too. Well, obviously you are, but
Of course now, yeah.
now after that. But I just mean in general speaking, the overall community everywhere is gone crazy, and TFE just made that incredibly worse. Incredibly worse. But like even tonight, like I don't know if we're going to get any flat earthers in the chat. Used to get tons of them. They all hang out in the echo chambers, and they don't. If they let a glober up to talk, they'll just mute you and kick you out within 10 minutes. You know, it's gotten.
Yeah, it's definitely that way on YouTube too. Because I was trying to tell Toon and those guys, like, nobody watches your stuff. No flat earther watches Simon Dan or Toon or FTFE.
No.
And I think that they know that kind of. Maybe one or two wander in there, but for the most part, you've got flat earthers listening to that echo chamber, and then you've got globers making fun of them on their channel. So yeah, it's a little bit. I think everybody thinks that everybody else sees their stuff, and nobody's actually seeing it. So what are we doing?
We're all just talking to each other, you know. We're all, yeah, we're preaching to the choir, which I guess is why, maybe also why you see less content videos, right? I mean,
yeah, I mean that's what I liked. I mean, there used to be, I don't know what you would call it, worth in that, because you'd get a good idea for somebody whether or not they were a good researcher just by the video that they put together. So you'd be able to decide if they're worth listening to, or if you need to go follow up with everything, or if they're just blatantly lying. And so yeah, the fact that nobody does that anymore, and I'm guilty of it too, because you couldn't. It used to be like you could take a week to do a video, and then once we started getting demonetized, it was like you do a whole week of video, you put it up, and they would just immediately demonetize it, and you're like, I just put 30 hours worth of work into that video.
Yeah.
Then when live streaming came, at least you were able to get a couple super chats here and there or something to at least make 20 or 30 bucks. So yeah, everybody started going to live streams. Very rarely does somebody upload a video anymore.
Now, is the demonetization happening under the guise of misinformation, or do they not even tell you?
Nope, they don't even tell you. Basically, the way my videos work right now, as soon as my live's done, it just says not eligible for monetization or not eligible for ad.
Really?
So you can ask for a second opinion, and then I think a human looks at it. But for the most part, there's always something in my videos that I'm like, and then you could get in trouble by doing that because all they did was demonetize you. But then if you have somebody look into it, I've heard of people getting strikes because of the content when they looked into it.
Oh, really? Like you're better off not asking for someone to look at it.
Just shut your mouth and go wander.
Just take your beating.
Right. So yeah, I mean the money. I mean it was good for like 2017 was a decent year, but then after that they did the adpocalypse and everything else just fell.
Right. Right. Yeah. I guess that begs the question. You stayed with YouTube though, and you kept doing it, right?
Yeah, I mean, I thought that we were arguing. I thought we were fighting the good fight. So that's why I think, because no matter it's even as things got rough and I had to start pulling other jobs or doing other things,
right?
It was still important enough for me to continue doing it. And I was behind Globebusters, the show, had done that for years,
right.
And always was trying some new show on my channel, whatever it might be. And then I tried debates and just tried different things to moderate debates. I mean, not to be in debates, but yeah, it was a long ride. Like 10 years. It's hard to believe. That's insane.
Yeah, when you look back at it, you go, what was going, like, it's all blur, right?
It is all blur. And it's funny because us as truthers, we would always make fun of people that sit around and watch sports and waste time like that. And then you look back at your 10 years, like, oh, so I just exchanged that for the sport of flat Earth versus globe Earth.
That's true. I mean, yeah. So yeah. I mean, my page has evolved from, I was trying to educate, probably similar to what you were doing from the other side, right? You were
right.
Trying to expose truth and then educate people to what you believed. And then I realized at some point, you're not doing this for the person you're talking to or debunking.
Right. It's always
It's
for the other people.
it's always for the other people. So then it just became more of entertainment. It just becomes entertainment, and it's sad because we want to educate people, but there's nobody you're talking to in these debates that's ever listening to anything
No,
you're
in
saying.
fact, when I was a moderator, it was so weird that I didn't see it until then, but I would watch people, and when one person was talking, the other person, you could actually see them getting ready. They were planning what to say, not
Yes.
the other person. And then it would go to them, and you would see the other person then immediately start planning what they were going to say, and you're like, you two aren't even listening to each other.
No.
It sounds so terrible because nobody's listening to each other.
It's become a battle of flowcharts.
Yeah,
I'd say it's a battle of flowcharts. You wait for the key word you hear, and then you go, all right, he said this, so I'm going to go here. He's going to say this, I'm going to go here, and then we're just going to, yeah. So real quick, if you're in my guest box on TikTok, just hang out. We'll get you up in a few minutes. And on YouTube, can I do that? I can't share anything there, but if you want to throw your questions up in the chat, I'll make sure they're addressed if I can get to them. Just tag me, do an at Globy there. I'll scroll back up and ask the questions. All right, thank you. So speaking of going back, were you 10 years on YouTube, you said, right? Something like that?
Video was February of 2015. So we're about 10 years right now.
Okay. So when you look back at that, how does that feel now? Like, how do you look at that now? Because
I think that so I tend to start believing that maybe this is some sort of psyop or something that they want to have happen, because I think that, or maybe it's just I was completely had a block in my mind, because now things are starting to make sense, and now everything I see is like different, globe evidence here, globe evidence there. I just filmed the rocket launch that took off from Vandenberg last week, and I was 177 miles away, and if you didn't see the rocket for the first minute and 5 seconds, I mean, there's just no explanation for that at all. Zero.
Perspective, right?
Yeah, I mean, it's the thing is, the rocket's flying away from me, so it's not. You can't even say angular size is the reason. What about going up would make it angular size bigger? Nothing. Right. So it's just kind of funny because I know that people did film those during the last 10 years or 5 years at least, and I must have just ignored it. So I think it's just really selective, like what your brain allows in. I mean,
right. Well, that's like cognitive dissonance, right? Well, that's more anger, but there's
like selective. I don't know. It's just you anything that goes in favor of your side, you promote, you push,
right?
And then anything that doesn't, you just dismiss as they must be lying or they must be making it up, or,
right?
Or you just don't want to look into it because you know there might be something there. It's not like a cognitive thing that you're doing knowingly. It's like a subconscious thing.
Right.
Looking back, it's just it's upsetting that it took so long. I mean, then again, my wife and I's task, or whatever you want to say, when we first started was, because if you had asked me, did you know the Earth was flat right from the beginning, I would say no. That we thought maybe it was, and then we said, well, let's make some videos, and then people will set us straight. Like, we will find out where we're wrong, and we'll find the evidence for it. But they just didn't come forward with good evidence, and so that's why it kind of went further and further. But like I wanted evidence of the globe, and nobody was coming forward with that. They would come forward with conjecture, or kind of, or at least what I would call it that. But I mean, I think there's some real simple things now. I heard somebody say the other day that we don't know the size of the Earth, and I'm like, you can just go to Google Earth or go to SunCalc or something and just figure out that every line of latitude is 69 degrees from the next. So there's 360 degrees, and it's times 69 miles.
Right.
24,900. So it's like, we do know the size, and it's, if to disprove that, all you need to do is go to SunCalc and show me where it's wrong, but you can't.
Right. Well, if you just measure the angle to the Polaris, right?
Right.
It changes 1 degree every 69 miles.
Right.
That's a relationship that's impossible on a flat plane, unless your eyesight is curving, right? Which is why they now try to claim our eyesight is spherical.
Right.
Yeah. it's literally globe vision, right? Everything, the Earth is flat, but everything we see in the sky just looks like it would look like on a globe.
Right.
That's the new excuse, right? Hanvey's doing it, and Allen Space Audits, right? That whole crew is doing it. I had a whole conversation with them about this, and they're trying to. I literally showed them Kip D's rocket launch at 300,000 feet. I don't know if you've seen that one. Great video. Private rocket launch, rectilinear lens, 300,000 feet. Curvature rate stays the same the whole time, no matter where the camera's panning around. So it's not warping like it would with a fisheye. And Shane literally looked at me and goes, "That's just the limitations of our eyes. Our eyes are limited. So it's flat, but the way we see, it's just making a curve. It's just making a spherical ball out of what we see, right? It's ridiculous."
Yeah, I mean, that's not going to explain the Tropic of Capricorn, which that's the one that I'm tripping flat earthers up on right now, because I just ask them, hey, if you were in South America, at the tip of South America looking west, I say, is Australia to the right or to the left? And they'll always say to the right. And it's like, yeah, I know that's where we thought it was, but I said, but the sun sets down there right to left.
Right.
And that means that the Tropic of Capricorn is over there on the left, because obviously we know the sun stays above it on December 21st. So then it means that, places like Australia are south of South America, not over off to the right, south
Right.
and underneath the earth. So yeah, it all kind of just starts gelling, making sense. And I honestly could just say it just didn't before, but I don't really know if I was really trying. And I think going on the trip, I kind of did some studying myself just to see what we expected to see, because I guess I thought even if we see the 24-hour sun, what we'll see is enough wrong with the model that I'll be able to find something that's wrong with it. And I didn't find anything. So then you realize at that point, when you can't find anything wrong, you're like, oh shit, then the south is just the opposite of the north. It's the reverse of the north. And then you're like, well, there's no other shape that can describe that.
That's the biggest proof, right? It's symmetry.
Yeah, and I think that's
everything's symmetrical. Everything.
That's what shocked me about when we got back, and everybody was like, "Oh, it doesn't matter. It's a no." I didn't even know that the sun made a difference in there. I'm like, when we first got into this, so say in 2015, everybody knew that this was dependent on the South being a lie. Absolutely dependent. If the South is what they say, then the Earth cannot be flat. Oh, what happened? I got a warning or something. Did you see that?
Yeah, I'm getting a warning. These pieces of garbage watching this live are flagging you. They're just unfucking believable.
Well,
your live content contains themes that some may find uncomfortable. If they remain in your live will be unavailable to some audiences. All right, whatever. We'll just cancel it. Let it be unavailable to some audiences. I don't even know what that means.
I don't know yet. Anyway,
if you get kicked out, don't be surprised. If my live just disappears.
I think last time I was on here, I was kicked off too.
Last time I had Will Duffy on one of my last lives I did, and that lasted 20 minutes before I was just shut down for misinformation. Yeah. Yeah. People are so butthurt about it. It's amazing.
Oh man, you're telling me.
But yeah, I guess if we get shut down, I mean, if you're willing, I'll send you a Skype link. We can just do it on YouTube. Finish it up.
Just send it on Telegram.
Okay. Yeah, I figured you'd like to maybe talk to this other audience that you don't really talk to too often. So before we get kicked out, let me hop some guests in here, see if anybody wants to ask a question. If you're naughty, you're going to get booted.
Hey.
Especially you, Sal.
Before I address Jeran, really quick, can you mod Hasselblad?
Sure.
Yeah, I was just commenting back to him that I would tell you if I came up or when I came up.
I don't know why he's not a mod. There you go.
Yeah. So, hey, how's it going, Jeran?
Good. You?
Pretty good, thanks. So I know we've never spoke, but I've seen you moderate quite impartially on your channel for some of the debates, including I think Globey's 3v3. Right.
I remember that one. Yep.
Yeah. So listening to you now, maybe I don't have to ask my question. I know I saw most of the final experiment. And towards the end of it, whenever you gave your on camera that, okay, I can corroborate the 24-hour sun, but that doesn't necessarily mean that the earth isn't flat. I just can't explain this, but I'm sure somebody else can. I'm paraphrasing what you were saying.
Yeah, I mean, it's kind of a little bit off. At that point, I knew I'd already thought about it ahead of time, so I knew that there was no way that somebody could explain it. But I didn't want to say that right from there. I kind of gave people, don't look at me, don't trust me.
Right.
Go to the back of the drawing board and figure it out.
Right.
Right.
So now listening to you now, I was going to ask, like, do you consider yourself still part of the flat Earth community?
No.
Okay, then forget it, because my follow-up was going to be like, what are your major points that, you still consider,
Yeah, I still have questions about other parts of the heliocentric model. I mean, I think I'm in a unique position now that if I want to find out some of those things, I might be able to. If there's a remote control car on Mars, let's say, I think that if I kind of really wanted to, I could probably get invited or somehow get, I don't know, somehow get to go to NASA and find out. So I'm going to kind of look into doing some of that stuff just to see if I can piggyback off this a little bit and figure out a few more things.
Maybe. I'm sorry.
Go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't know if you're aware of him and what pull he may have. Johnny Astronomy works for NASA at Goddard.
Mm-hmm.
So I don't know.
It's here in California, I think, too. So, so I mean, that's the as far as the shape of the Earth, that's settled. But a lot beyond that, I'm not at a place that I could make a determination. A lot of Globers seem to think, oh, now that you've got this right, then you believe everything about space travel. And I don't think that's a smart step either. It may end up there, but we'll see.
Yeah, I don't believe in the I don't know, the all or nothing. I don't believe in all or nothing.
Right. Yeah.
So, and Globey said a key word. I don't know if he's heard me mention it before or whatever, but I tried to summarize a month or so ago a bunch of things we typically talk about, and I go, symmetry. I said, you've got all like these half a dozen things or more that happen in the north and in the south. It's all very symmetrical. And then the equator is very much a neutral zone for these things. And I said, now transfer all those things to a flat surface.
Never work.
Any of it right. There's no symmetry. So I said, I thought that's very compelling.
Yeah, it is. And I think even I've been trying to tell flat earthers that I don't even think you could lie about the shape of the Earth anymore, which is weird to go for 10 years of saying that's what they were doing to then in a weekend or a week basically turn around and say, no, I don't even think it's possible. I don't think you could, because you could lie if there was no observations, meaning there's no sun, there's no moon, there's no stars. Then you could probably map a plain ground Earth to a sphere and convince the people that live there that they live on a sphere. But as soon as observations are involved, well, there's no way that the sun above a flat Earth could then be mapped onto a sphere and it jive with observations.
Right. I used to get teased by some of the guys. Josh and I, Hasselblad and I would kind of vie for who's going to bring up, hurricanes first. And there's little consensus. I would explain it, or Hasselblad would explain it on a globe. Makes sense. Very easily explainable. You have that symmetry again, right? From north to south, and the equator being neutral. And then I'd be like, okay, how does it work on a flat Earth? And I have like, I have a Frisbee literally that has a couple rings on the face of the Frisbee. I go, okay, here's your, your Cancer. Here's the equator. Here's Capricorn. All right. The northern storms are within this circle. The southern storms are outside of that circle. I said, how do the storms, those are some smart storms, because they know as they approach this quote unquote line in the sand, it's nothing more than a line on a flat Earth model, right? It's not a bulge like would make sense on a globe. How do these storms know that I'm getting close to this circle, back away? How do these storms know I'm moving the opposite direction, getting close to that circle, back away? And there's no consensus. One flat earther would say electrostatics. Another one would say magnetism. Another one would talk about winds. Another one would talk about the wind created by the sun flying overhead. I mean, there's no consensus across that community on
No,
anything.
I think that from a flat earther's perspective is that if it was a deception, then that's what you would expect, right? So I never took that as meaning much that there was no consensus, because if you, I don't know, how can I word this? If you found out, let's say you've got 3 or 4 brothers, and you found out that your real dad wasn't, or the dad that raised you wasn't your actual dad. Well, then because it's a deception and you don't know then there is kind of no rhyme or reason. Each brother might go out and think a different guy is their dad, because there's no, you were lied to. So once you found that out and you went looking, then it's going to be very crapshoot. So I think that I never looked at that as like I would say, oh, the globe had all these years to put together a perfect model, and the flat Earth, it just came out and just is now getting their feet wet, and so they're going to have a hard time being congruent or being together. So I mean, I get what you're saying, but I don't think that that's something that's going to wake up many flat earthers. I do think what you said about symmetry, though, is, I mean, symmetry, like somebody just plays with the sun calc, or plays and just kind of starts
The
understanding
Earth isn't flat.
how,
And I have one
like,
of the
for instance,
simplest
the
observations to
lines of
prove it to
longitude.
you. It's right here.
We were measuring down in Antarctica.
These 3
was
sunsets
like
from the
17
northern hemisphere,
miles
the
was one
equator,
line
and the
of
southern
longitude. But on a
hemisphere
flat Earth, it's
are
360
all you need.
or 350 miles.
I laugh because it's
Like,
so
that's the
simple,
kind of thing
and
that
I've never
just
done a
needs to
video
be
on this.
pointed
This
out.
is
That's
from the
not
equator.
kind of
Notice the
discrepancy
sun
that
sets vertically.
you can just gloss over.
Northern
right?
hemisphere,
No
the
pilot is
sun
gonna be
sets to
flying
the right,
350 miles,
southern hemisphere
and then
to the
think they only
The
went
Earth
17.
isn't flat.
That's because
and I
the
have
light-
one of the simplest
Oh, I got a little
observations to
echo there.
prove it to you.
That's
Symmetry.
It's right here.
That's because the lines of longitude
These 3
splay
sunsets
away
from the
each other
northern
until you hit
hemisphere, the equator, and the
then they
southern
start to converge
hemisphere
back as they head
are all you
south.
need.
But on the Gleason's map, they just keep
I
splaying
laugh
out
because
further
it's so
and
simple,
further,
and
and
I've
you get
never
these
done a video
wild
on this.
distances in the
This
south.
is
It's
from
very
the equator.
logical
Notice the
explanation.
sun sets vertically.
And then
Northern
when you
hemisphere,
apply
the sun sets to the
light
right.
patterns,
Southern hemisphere, you're
you
tilted
know,
a little bit like
I've
this.
told flat earthers, I said,
And from
go
the
on
southern
any
hemisphere,
website you want.
a little
Go on
bit like
direct
this.
airline website, go on Kayak,
So from your perspective,
Orbitz, Travelocity,
you get
whatever.
the angles.
Pick a bunch of random point A to point B.
It's
that
so
crisscross
simple. And you
Earth.
can't
Don't
refute
stay
it,
on
flat
that
earthers.
northern
This
latitude,
one simple
because then
observation
you're not gonna
debunks
get,
your
you know,
entire
the
flat
big
Earth.
discrepancy.
The
Crisscross,
geometry
you know, London
doesn't
to
work.
south of,
If you think
to
it does
Chile,
work,
whatever.
then let's see a model
And
of a light
Put those on a
going this
Gleason's map.
direction, but
And
appearing to
Globy's
go
done a number
left
of videos
or
on
straight
this, so
from your
he knows
perspective.
where I'm going. You know
You
where I'm
can't,
going.
because flat Earth
And
doesn't
compare
work
then those lines
ever.
that you said. Okay,
Share this with
point
your
A to B
favorite
is
flat
this many
earther,
miles,
because
this
this
many
is
flight hours.
only
Do
possible
another one. Do another
on
one.
a sphere.
Compare those lines to each other, and it's not going to make any sense.
Ridiculous.
Yeah, then they all
The
match
Earth isn't
perfectly.
flat, and I have one of the
And
simplest
they have a big problem
observations to
too.
prove it to you.
A lot of flat
It's
earthers,
right
I don't
here.
like to generalize, but a lot of them.
These 3 sunsets from the
Spatial
northern
awareness,
hemisphere, the equator, and the southern hemisphere
scale, and it kind of plays into where they don't see the difference between a straight line wrapping around a globe and a straight line on a 2D surface.
Right.
So when I show my globe on camera and I'm like, what is the equator? How would you describe this equator here, right? And I've got it such that from, you know, it's kind of looking like a smiley face. Oh, that's a curved line. Yeah, it's curved, whatever. And then I rotate the globe kind of vertically, if you will, and I go, and I start spinning. I go, isn't this a straight line? Couldn't you, where it crosses the continents, if that was spray painted on, you could walk that?
Yeah, you'd be walking straight.
Exactly. But very often lately, I've been having this big thing where I tell, and some, honest to God, some of them were like newbie globers too. Wasn't just flat earthers, right? And they were conflating. They think straight and flat are one and the same. I go, no, just because it's wrapping around a ball doesn't mean it's not a straight line.
We're not getting into straight and flat and level and flat.
Yeah. They think, I said, what about a stretch of a roller coaster that goes hill, dip, but it's a straight stretch of the roller coaster. Isn't that still a straight stretch? They're like, no, because it's going up and down, up. I go, at what point do you turn very to the right or left?
Right. So look, that's their old thing. Yeah. North is up. The Nile River can't be flowing north because north is up.
I didn't understand that. I never understood
that. So you know what I said, Globy?
It's topography.
You know what I said to one? He happened to be a flat earther a couple weeks back, right? I said, I thought this was an analogy. I said, okay, is your yard level? Is it flat relatively, right? You don't, yeah. I go, so if you put a slide, like a children's slide in your backyard, and you put the rungs of the ladder facing southbound, and the slide was sliding towards the north, would that slide not work? He literally with a straight face said, no. I go, I don't know where to go from here. All of a sudden, the slide doesn't work because you're orienting it the same way the Nile River flows, in your opinion, uphill.
You asked them to visualize too much in 3 dimensions, but look, Sal, I'm just going to keep moving along here, so don't take this personally.
No, I'll drop. Thanks.
Thanks, man.
Bye. The 2 things I think that lead to flat Earth is, number 1, the amount of people in the north versus the south. If it was switched and we had 95% of people in the south, I think that probably flat Earth wouldn't have never even amounted to much, because it's only in the north, So most people think northwise. They think of the way the sun sets, and they kind of picture the flat Earth and like, oh, it does work. But if you go down south, it completely shits in your face. So there's that, and the scale thing, which I've always understood, but I just noticed that the flat earthers can't get it. I tried to explain at Home Depot, just because I know that people recognize that as being flat and level. And I just say, if we built Home Depots on the sphere Earth, that everywhere you put a level would be level. And they don't get that. They're like, oh, Home Depot, or Jeran thinks we live on a Home Depot.
Yeah, speak of the devil, this guy wanted to talk to you about that. How'd you even know?
Who's there?
The video.
Roman Catholic.
Oh, there we go. It says Home Depot. See, I told you.
He that was weird.
What are the chances of that?
I don't know. I'm going to try to make him bigger. Hold on. Expand. Why is this? What is that doing? Oh, there we go.
I just want to play a quick audio of what you said.
Sure.
It's not a problem for me. But for me, it's always been a problem, because that's why I became a flat earther. I went looking for evidence of the globe, and there isn't. And one of the evidences would have been there was a 24
Case closed.
What happened?
Yeah,
you
maybe
said you said you went looking for evidence of a globe and you found absolutely nothing.
Correct.
So what changed?
Well, then I went and saw evidence of the globe.
Yeah, but you have been shown models that it works on the flat Earth.
No. So let me describe something, and you tell me what model calls for this. So if you're in South America, at the tip of South America, and you're looking west, which direction is Australia? Is it right or left? You're in South America looking west.
This is your turn, Roman.
Hold up.
He's confused by right or left. Give him a minute.
So yeah.
All right, hold up. I had to do something. Just say it again.
So if you're in South America looking west, which direction is Australia, right or left?
Let's just pull that up real quick.
I got it here. You can look at it. Here's Australia. I mean, here's South America. If you're looking west, which way is Australia? Australia's up here now.
So it would be.
Is it to your right?
It would be to your right on any flat map that ever exists, ever will always be to the right, but the sun goes to the left, which means the Tropic of Capricorn goes to the left, which means that the Earth cannot be flat. I mean, that's how simple it is, really. I mean, it sucks because they took me 10 years to figure it out. Well, you can say that, but you're like, you've already been shown a model that can explain that. So what model explains the sun going to the left? But remember, if the sun's above your head in South America, going towards Australia, it has to get over there in like 4 or 5 hours because it's going to be noon over there.
But there have been multiple people that have shown you that how it works on a flat Earth.
No, I'm asking you.
I can name them right now.
Sure, go ahead.
You got Stephen Alonso.
Stephen Alonso, who now, by the way, is selling TFE merchandise. That's a real class act. He took Will's logos and everything and selling them on his shop. He's also selling the Gleason's map, which has been debunked. Stephen Alonso.
I have his book, actually.
Yeah, oh my God! Of course you do.
I admit his book is not the best, bro. I admit his book is not the best.
Hey, Roman, real quick. So I don't mean to interrupt, Jeran, but look, this is Stephen Alonso's website, Flat Earth University. If you go to the About section and read what it's about, Maybe no, he hasn't changed it. He has a global footprint.
That's hilarious.
Sorry. Flat Earth University serves as the global epicenter of geocentric cosmology.
He doesn't even try to hide it. He
Doesn't even try to hide it.
So what he does, and so does Shane's model, by the way, is they duplicate the sun, which number one, why the hell would you do that? And number two, they place the sun into your sky where the globe predicts it will be. So, and then they're like, oh, we solved it. We predicted it. So they're taking the sun where it is, because let's say like it's above Australia, and they say, oh, well, it needs to be to the south of the people in Antarctica. So they duplicate it and put it in the sky where the globe already predicts that the sun will be, which is behind the people in Australia. I mean, in Antarctica. But it's just the globe doesn't need two suns because it also can shine on Australia at the same time.
Yeah, but the globe has the cartoon simulate almost all of their observations. So if you're claiming that Stephen Alonso has to use a cartoon simulation to simulate it, then that goes both ways.
Yeah, that goes both ways. I'm saying he has to duplicate the sun, which the globe never has to do, and then he puts the sun where the globe says it will be and calls it a flat Earth prediction.
Well, he says it's refraction off the dome.
Right, but I mean, there's no such thing as that. I mean, so get this. So like flat Earthers.
We don't know that, though. We don't know that.
Well, yes, but here's the thing. Flat Earthers had a problem, and I had a problem with what they call the impossible eclipse, right? Because you have the sun and moon both above the horizon at the same time. But the globe needs like 5 degrees of refraction in order to make that observation work. And flat Earthers will not give them that. They'll just laugh and call it an impossible eclipse, and you guys can't make it work. But now what you're describing is 180 degrees of refraction. It's taking the sun and moving it 30,000 miles away from where it is and putting it into somebody's sky where the globe says it should be. So that's the thing about flat earthers is we have to be consistent. I mean, if you're going to have a problem with 5 degrees for the globe, then you can't use more than 5 degrees for your refraction. So it's just one of those things where it's just always something, whatever the flat earth needs, they can do, but they'll make fun of the tiniest little thing. I heard somebody say the other day that, oh, well, some of the globe predictions for sunrise and sunset are off by 3 or 4 minutes. Like, what? Okay. We can't predict one on the flat earth. We can't predict a sunrise or sunset angle at all. So
saying you can predict sunrise and sunset is like you can predict when grass is going to grow. It just happens naturally.
How can you do that?
The angles are perfect onto a globe, meaning no matter where, if you flew somewhere in the world right now, no matter where you fly, the globe model will predict for you what time the sun will rise and set and the angle that it will.
You already know why, because of the budget reasons. But I wanted to show one more video because I didn't want to.
Well, hold on, Roman. Hold on. If your sun sets on flat Earth because of atmospheric opacity, it just disappears into the atmosphere because it gets so far away, gets smaller and smaller until it disappears, which it doesn't because it never gets smaller. But that's your claim. It would change day to day. Your sunset times and sunrise times would change by the hour depending on the atmospheric conditions. How come we can predict a sunset next year on July 1st without knowing anything about the atmospheric conditions that day?
Well, I always said this, and you have monuments that were built thousands of years ago that still align with the summer solstice and the winter solstice today.
That's great. I asked you a question not about that.
Well, okay, let me finish. On a chaotic universe, that would not be possible because they would have been thrown out of alignment.
That's great. Can you answer the sunset issue we were talking about? Or
I didn't come up here to argue about sunsets. I want to just show Jeran one more video.
Sure. Yeah. Show us one more video. By the way, this is Stephen Alonso's model. Sun here. We see it 180 degrees behind the observer over here. Yeah, good luck with that.
Yeah, we know, buddy.
No, I mean, I know it's tough to come to grips with it, but the Earth will never be flat. It just can't. It just is. It fails where it needs to.
Is that just trust me, bro? Right now?
No, I've given people many ways they can tell. You can do it yourself.
This is your video, by the way.
This is what?
This is your video.
Okay.
You debunked the globe more times than probably most people here in the chat. And this is your video of Mount Xanadu. Does this just go away now that you're...
No.
Is all this... Like, what's going on here?
So Canigou, it seems that it's being lifted by refraction. And again, so if you're against giving them that little bit of refraction, which is like basically, so the sun's a half a degree, so it's probably 2 degrees of refraction that you need, but you're okay giving Stephen Alonso 180 degrees refraction. Do you see the hypocrisy there?
Okay, so you're going with the globe claims of gravity, refraction, rotation once per 24 hours.
Never
the
said
three
any
end all be alls. Those are your answers for everything now.
Nope, never said any of that.
You just claim refraction right now.
I said you asked for a reason why this Canigou is being seen. I said the globe says it's refraction.
And what is your answer?
That it's probably refraction. Well, I mean, what do you want me to do? So if I don't give him that, refraction, then my option is to go back to flat Earth and then do what? Use 180 degree refraction and think that that's okay? We don't have a model anymore. There's no model for flat Earth.
And there's no model for a globe. They can't physically model half the things they talk about.
But the globe is a model, right? Like, have you gone to Andrew Marsh's site and played with that site yet? Because it's the only scale site I really know of that has the sun at scale and everything at scale. But like one of the most incredible things is if you look at the daylight hour, say on December 21st, and you drag the marker from the North Pole to the South Pole, it goes from no time, 0 hours of daylight, and as you drag the mouse down, it counts up 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, all the way to you get to the South Pole, and it's 24. And then during the summer, the opposite is true. But that would be impossible on flat Earth. How could you have daylight times be perfectly in sync, 0 to 24, going north to south on a flat map? So I know how people think that because there's evidence of something that it means that you can't, how are you going to do this if there's still evidence for the other? The only way I can describe it is like if you came across a murder scene and there was, 6 pairs of shoes there. Well, all those shoes are evidence. And if they belong to 6 different people, then all those people are suspects. But then as soon as you find who the murderer is, the other shoes get dismissed. The evidence isn't applicable anymore. You already found the murderer. So I found the shape of the Earth. So the other little bits of evidence are just that. They were just little bits of evidence. They weren't proof. They weren't falsifiers, right? Like the twisting sun in the south is a falsifier of the AE map and flat Earth. The Tropic of Capricorn going left is a falsifier of flat Earth. Now, if I'm wrong, then it means there has to be some other type of map that nobody's ever seen before, and that's just not going to happen. Because if, let's say we wipe the flat Earth, we say, okay, we're just going to start from scratch and we're going to build the Earth again. So you have to put the North Pole there, and you have to put the North Celestial Pole there, and then you have to lay the continents out, and the continents have to be how they are. You can't move. Australia is not going to magically appear on the other side of Africa. So once you lay out all the continents, it is the AE map. It will always be the AE map. It's the only map that even had a prayer of working. At one point, it was, okay, it could be the globe or it could be the AE map, but they're very different when you get south of the equator. And again, the Tropic of Capricorn has to go to the right on the flat Earth, and it goes to the left, clearly. And that's something you can figure out on your own without NASA, without longitude, latitude, without any help, without any authority. I think that God, do you believe in God?
Yeah, I'm a Catholic.
Okay, so I think God put the sun there so you could not be lied to about where you live. So if you just pay attention to the sun, forget everything else, forget all that you've been learning and everything, just you and the sun, learn to observe the sun, and you'll see that it only works on a sphere. That it cannot work on a flat Earth. It goes the opposite. It goes backwards in the south. It goes right to left. For here in the north, we see it go left to right when it's setting, right?
Now they will fight this to the bitter end. I've had probably an hour and a half long discussion with Caleb about this. And a lot of it comes down to just, we argued about what right and left is. Like, how are you that, I think it's just a defense mechanism, but right. If you're standing watching left, if you're west watching a sunset, west, the sun is going to set to your left shoulder in the southern hemisphere.
Correct.
That's towards the south. This isn't a hard concept.
I appreciate you guys for being respectful. I'm about to go.
All right, thanks.
All right. Thanks, Roman.
Yeah, it's because I think people do get confused when you're talking about like I was having trouble with somebody trying to explain how the sun in the north goes left to right, and in the south it goes right to left. And they were like, "Oh yeah, but I can just turn around and see the sun go the other direction." And I'm like, "No, no, no. I'm talking about in the circle in the north. The sun will always go left to right. It can't go right to left." And they couldn't grasp that. They're like, "No, I can just turn around and then it goes right to left." Like if I'm looking at a car go by this way and I turn around, I'm like, "We're not talking about cars. Stop. We're not talking about that. We're talking about this way the sun works in the north." And they. So I do see what you're saying. That I think sometimes.
Yeah, left, right. It gets, and you'd say, well, the sun sets to your left, and they go, well, you know.
Well, if I turn around, it's going to my right. No, we're talking about facing it.
But on flat Earth, the sun is to your north, and it's turning to your right at all times.
Correct.
It's always to your north and turning right.
And that
one. Well, it is to the north. You have to look north to see it. No, not look north.
I think that there's some way that like there's another map that's going to come out, or somebody's going to be able to. But it's just it can't happen. It just can't happen.
Right. So like, and I made this in Blender real quick. I'm not very good at Blender, but I'm learning. The sun's out there. The Earth is here. If we just spin this Earth, and I'm going to send the camera down to where you guys were in Antarctica, right? And you get the sun doing what you expect it to do. It's going to your left. It goes up and down in a wave.
Right. And no matter which way you try and turn, it's still going right to left. It's not going to change.
Right. It's always going right to left. And if we switch this camera over to Chile, you're going to see it.
Right. And that's exactly what we saw. And I mean,
rise in the southeast.
There was a problem right when we got to Chile because we were watching the sun set right to left, and then it stayed light in the south pretty much till like 1:30 a.m. and then the sun rose by 5.
Right.
So, and that's just much different than we get here in the north. I mean, if you're further up north, you'd see the same thing. Obviously, it's just symmetrical. But I'm saying for my whole life living in the United States and just had never seen something like that. And once you see that, you're kind of like, shit, could it still be the light off of a dome? Well, even Witsit and I were like, could be. So we won't know until we fly south and see if that's the sun. Well, then we flew south and saw that was the sun. So not a lot of questions after that. I know a lot of people were asking, like, why did you concede and say that the sun circles you on that first day you got there? I was like, well, because the sun was in the south.
It's rising in southeast, setting southwest, right?
Right. Well, when we were in Antarctica, it was just up in the air, right? So, but it was already at like, I forgot when we did that live stream. It might have been around midnight. But they're like, it hadn't even gone all the way around yet. And it's like, no, but you could see what it was doing. It didn't set.
Oh, yeah. When you first got there, I thought you meant in Chile.
No, because when I did that one live stream where I'm in the, my black hoodie and I'm saying that, sometimes you're wrong. People looked at that and they're like, oh, you said that before it was 24 hours there. How would you know? And it's like, well, because the sun has to set. It's
moving in a straight line across the sky. It's not going to set.
It was 11:30. We pretty much knew that there's no, where's it going to set now? Set in the south. That wouldn't make any sense.
Right. And this is what you were trying to explain before, right? I mean, if you're watching the sun, this is from Chile. Or I'm sorry, it's Antarctica, right? But right here, right, the sun has to just become something else and like split.
Right.
Right.
And
the sun continues going north to the right, but also around you to the left.
Right. But it sets right to left. And then that tells you, so you see where the Tropic of Capricorn is there, right? So we know that the sun is always above that. So if the sun goes left, then it means the Tropic of Capricorn goes left.
Right.
And under the earth.
Right. It's always going that way.
Right. So, I mean, it just completely debunks that AE map. So that's frustrating because, seeing Stephen Alonso sell it and stuff like that, you're like, oh, so now we're just selling lies. And I get it because somebody could have just said the same thing about me a year ago if I was selling a shirt or something, who knows, So that's the upsetting part is that you kind of, you feel like you should be able to help some of these people, but they're just going to treat you the same way you treated a Glober a year ago. So that's kind of frustrating.
Yeah, and I'd say, they just have to discover it for themselves, but most of them are never going to do that, and that's what's scary about it and sad, really.
Yeah, I think that there's some ways you could do it on your own completely. Like you don't need authority, you don't need professors, you don't need NASA. So it's just a matter of finding those easy ways to explain it. Because you're right, a lot of people can't travel. I know I was lucky to get to go to Antarctica and go for free. So I recognize that I have that And I knew as soon as it was asked, I knew right away that, yeah, like if you're going to take me and you're paying for it, I want to go, because I knew that everything depended on that. And there was a small percentage chance that we would get shown to be correct. I know that that's a far fetched, because even if it was some sort of conspiracy, you'd think they'd have to shut that down somehow. But I was like, okay, they'll have to either cancel the trip, it'll be cloudy skies, something will happen. What I never even dreamed of is it just everything working exactly like the globe said.
Now, in all fairness, when you were first asked if you wanted to go, you were not fighting back, but you were kind of wishy-washy about it, right?
Well, because I didn't. At first, I thought it was just going to be like some Globers, because I thought what he was doing is like he was going to invite a bunch of people to go. He was going to pay for a flat earther, and then I kind of knew there would be no flat earthers that would be able to afford it on their own.
Right.
And then I figured there'd be a bunch of Globers that would end up going. So I kind of had this feeling like it's going to be me and 8 Globers or something. So that's when I told him, I said, I'd be interested, but not by myself. I just said, with no flat earther going, I don't know if I want to go. So then he kind of said, well, if I got another one to go, would you go? And I said, well, it depends who that was. If it's Nathan Oakley or somebody that I don't like, then probably not. And he's like, well, what about Whitsitt? Because Whitsitt came in 3rd place. And I was like, well, yeah, if Whitsitt went, I would go. So then from there, it just kind of went from there.
All right. Very good. I do believe you said something about what if I go down there and have a heart attack and never come back?
Well, no, that's what I mean by didn't want to go down by myself. I
Right.
said, who knows if they could heart attack you? I said, if I went down there and they're like, oh, Jeran had a heart attack, I'm like, nobody would even bat an eye. They'd be like, oh, the guy just died.
Right.
And I'm like, if me and Whitsitt go down there and we both have heart attacks, that's going to cause some questions.
It'd be harder to cover up, I suppose. Yeah.
Might have to send a few people down there to investigate.
The whole plane would have to go down.
Yeah, but if it was just me, they'd be like, yeah, the guy, he lives in California, it's too cold for him, he had a heart attack.
All right, so I'm gonna ask a couple questions from the YouTube side. Charles Arnold says, when you get a chance, can you ask Jeran to unblock me? Mark W. I don't know. Mark W.
Send me your URL to Telegram if you want. If you could, t.me/Jeranism, I'll unblock it.
All right, Mark, Telegram him. But this is your last chance. Don't be an asshole again. Let's see. How does Jeran feel about Dirt's app leaking data? You want to have any opinion on that? Or,
I tried telling him for at least a week that people were telling me that the app was wide open, and he just kept saying that there was a spiritual attack or that they were just Globers attacking him. I'm like, no, but they're actually finding data. So, yeah, I deleted it a while back.
Okay. Yeah, there was actually someone on TikTok who confronted him in a live. He's not live here often, but sometimes. And Flat Earther was going after him because he had all his stuff stolen. I mean, there's no proof it came from Dave's app breach, but he did say he uses the same password and all his stuff. So if you're using your password, same password for that you are for your bank accounts, you're pretty dumb. But if you're doing that, go change your password at least.
And that should be a lesson to never do that, because
yeah,
I assume that Dave's app is, if it's unsafe, then many apps are. Because these people that build these apps and they just find some Indian guy that's going to build their app kind of like Dave did. They don't know security. And especially when Dave hired him, there was no user database or anything. It was just build this AE map with the sun and moon on top, and the developer was able to do that. Well, as time went on and he added things, he never changed developers. He just stuck with the same guy. So I don't think the guy had a clue about security.
No, clearly he did not. But the unwillingness to admit he was has a problem and go fix it is odd.
That's odd.
That's definitely odd at this point. Mars Eskimo, would you agree with the idea? I should probably pre-read these. Would you agree with the idea that Flat Earth mimics other revisionist topics like 9/11 conspiracy theories, but is in fact just faulty geometry and paranoia?
That it mimics others?
Yeah. Would you agree that the idea of Flat Earth mimics other revisionist topics like 9/11? I guess.
No, I think there's an actual, and I know Globers don't really admit it because they've come to grips with it. But for some people, the globe just doesn't jive, or it doesn't match our observations. It is counterintuitive. The idea of things pulling to the center, yeah, sure, we were taught that, but it doesn't really match a lot of what we go through in daily life. So I think when somebody brings up that the earth could be flat and that we've been lied to. If you're religious, it's a big thing. You're like, oh, okay, well, I've already been told Satan runs the world, and that's something Satan would do. And then it just is, because I do think that like the AE map is easier to understand, right? The AE map is easy to understand. Seasons make sense. It just doesn't jive with reality. So people just adopt it and saying, this makes sense to me. This is what I think the world is, but they don't really look into, well, does this match the world that we see? And the answer is no.
Well, it looks flat to me, and I don't feel myself spinning. So this map makes me feel better.
Right, exactly. And that's what I mean. And there's a lot of people that are just, somebody once told me, they're like, take a room of 100 people and find the person with the middle intelligence, right? The 50th person. Right. Like, how smart is that guy? And you're like, not very, they're kind of almost dumb. And then you have to remember that 50 people in that room are dumber than that guy. So you really start to realize how many people that just aren't very sharp. And so I think that this placates to that group. And,
right.
And I'm not trying to bash my own intelligence. I do think that once you get into it, you can, then you got people emailing you saying, oh, I've always thought this, and my grandpa said this. And then all of a sudden you feel like you're some sort of warrior for truth. You feel like you're, and I never could give it up because I never could find anything definitive. Like I would try. I would say, let's find something that just is definitive. And, the 24-hour sun clearly was. Now looking back, I'm like, there's several other things I should have seen, but I don't know. I can't even describe what it is. It's like a mental block that just doesn't allow you to, like you said, seeing it for yourself, going down and seeing the sun set like it did in Punta Arenas, and then flying south and seeing the sun kind of unfold till it's out in the sky the whole day. Everything made sense. Just something that I'd never even thought about, like how the whole thing jived together on a globe, just made sense. That it's like, oh, it only could be on a globe. That you could try and map the sun's movement on anything else, and it will never work.
Right. So that kind of segues into my own question. So like 2 days ago on my live, I went back and played a clip from when you once featured me on your show.
Where I showed a video?
It was when you were talking with Caleb and Derek. Probably don't even remember it. It was probably over a year ago.
You could probably remind me if you tell me what it was about. I would remember.
It was. I'm not sure why they were on your show. Maybe they were promoting their podcast.
No, I think they were coming on they were going to speak at my summit. So I had.
Oh, okay. I don't know why it happened, but you started reviewing some videos or whatever, and Caleb showed we were going back and forth in videos, and he showed my video response to him about gas pressure without a container. And then you guys were going back and forth about how, I was begging the question and blah, blah, blah about giving examples. And one of my examples I gave was like the ocean, right? And I said it's much higher pressure underneath. But according to the flat earth mantra, you need a barrier separating the pressure. Otherwise, the pressure will equalize. That's the mantra. You need a container, right? So he asked me for a terrestrial example. So I gave him a terrestrial example. And then the whole conversation was how I can't use a terrestrial example because I'm begging the question, right? It's a dome. You're using the atmosphere. You're using the earth. You can't do that because that's the thing in question.
And now I see the folly with that too, which is, the same thing as them saying, well, show me a ball with water sticking to it. It's like, well, no, that happens because of the size of the earth. So.
Right. I can show you a ball that has water on it, but you're going to say, well, that's not gravity. It's not enough water, blah, blah, blah.
Right. So clearly, those ones that people need to at least understand that it doesn't mean it's proof. It doesn't mean it, I don't even really believe in necessarily proof because I do think you should keep your mind open for evidence all the time. But, there are some things that are concrete that could be called facts. I think that, again, like you said, scale is an issue. I had this girl, she's supposedly a engineer who keeps messaging me on Facebook telling me that it's impossible that there's level ground on a sphere. And then she said, go get a Lego and put a Lego on a yoga ball and tell me if you can keep it straight. And I said, hold on. I said, a Lego is 1 inch and a yoga ball is 48 inches in diameter. I said, so if I'm 6 foot tall, you're talking about the Earth being 288 feet in diameter. So I said, so in that case, yes, you could not build anything on a sphere. You would have a hard time living on a 288 foot sphere.
Right.
But I
Right.
said, I did the math and it came out to like 460,000. I said, so the Earth is 460,000 times as big as that 288 foot sphere. So I said, and then she said something ridiculous. She said, oh, the way spheres are sphere, or curves are curves, or circles are circles, and straight lines are straight lines, and scale doesn't matter. I'm like, no, scale does matter. That the Earth is so big that everywhere you are is flat.
It's all about scale. Scale's very important to the conversation.
Well,
right?
I think that because we see a globe and we see a basketball and we see a beach ball, people just associate spheres and balls with things that size. And so it
Right.
doesn't work. You could not live on that. You could, if you flew a plane on that, you would have to nose down. The difference is that we don't live there. So
Yeah, right. And it goes back to the like 1,000 miles per hour spin at the equator, right? Yeah, 1,000 miles per hour sounds fast, but at the size of the Earth, it's not fast.
well, when you
Not
go
fast.
show, what I do is I go show Universe Sandbox or something, and I'll zoom out and show it in real time, and the Earth just sits
Right.
there. And I'm like,
That's 1,000 miles per hour. It's sitting there.
no,
Doing
they don't
nothing.
get that. They'll just be like, "What do you mean? That's not spinning at all. You have it paused." I'm like,
Right.
No, that's real time. It just so happens that the Earth has to go around 25,000 miles in a day.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's
Anybody that follows my lives knows this old gag, but I show this a lot to flat earthers. It's just AutoCAD, and it's two parallel lines. I mean, these are parallel. If you measure them, they're the same distance from each other, whole way across the screen, right? But if I zoom out, it's two concentric circles the size of the Earth.
right.
From
Yeah,
the
do that.
scale in, it looks flat. It just looks flat, guys.
Right.
It's not flat.
If you were to start building, I did some math on it the other day just to show people that I reduced the curvature of the Earth. It's 8 inches per mile squared, but then you can go backwards, and then it's 2 inches per half mile. It's half inch per quarter mile. It's a 0.1. Anyway, it gets down to it's 660 feet, which is like 2 football fields with end zones. The curvature is 1/10 of 1 inch.
Right.
What I don't think people understand is if we built football fields across the entire sphere Earth, that's the only curve you'd ever have to even worry about. You would just
Right.
build 2 football fields, and there'd be 1/10 of an inch, which is a sliver. Then you wouldn't even, our measuring tools wouldn't even be able to account for that. And so,
Right.
and you would just keep working through those two, and as long as you're always moving forward, the curvature never changes from that. Whereas people be like, oh, but over 3 miles it's this much, and over 10 miles, yes, if you're starting at that same starting point and looking off in the distance, which we really can't do, you can't really see very far.
No, and here's this is your Home Depot example, right? If this box is Home Depot, it's a rectangle. If I push this up against this sphere, it's flat.
Right.
And this is even to scale. This is too big to be a Home Depot, but it still works, right? It just sits flat on this sphere here.
And now if
But
you
this
kept
is-
going and build a Home Depot after Home Depot after Home Depot, it would just go around the sphere. You would never even notice you did.
Right, exactly.
So I think that's one of the hardest things. And I wonder why, I don't think that was really taught in school much, or at least I didn't remember that. But I think that makes a lot more sense to people if you, at least, because like the big proofs from Flat Earth are right. They're that water finds its level and that the Earth measures flat. So I just feel like somebody should have said from the very beginning, like, yes, that's all what the globe says. The globe says that water finds its level, and the globe says that the ground is measured flat where you are. That's
You just misused the word level, right? I mean, it's misused by flat earthers. They think level means this is level right here, and if I just keep drawing straight lines out both sides, that's level for everywhere at all times. That's level. That's not level. Level conforms to the liquid parts of the Earth's surface, right? It's a tangent at every point of Earth. That's level.
so for our size, right? Everywhere is essentially level, because and it could mean flat too, because
Right.
you're not looking at a big enough area to say it's level but not flat. When would you ever be taking that much into account? You just really aren't. Talking about like building the football fields, at no point do you ever need to go back to field 1 and say, is it level with field 10? No, you would just keep building that as you went along. This is why I think the whole idea of like building railroad tracks, people used to say with flat earth, well, how do you do railroad tracks? You have to take the curve into account. It's like, no, you don't. You just lay a track. You lay a railroad track, go to the next one. Lay a railroad track, go to the next one. You would never take it into account. I don't even think at least for me, I think when Globers kind of say, "Oh, well, we take it into account when we build bridges," I don't even think that's true. I don't think you would need to. I think you would just build where you're at.
You don't, yeah, you don't take it into account because you build roads in sections like that, small sections. Even a bridge you build in small sections.
Right.
But
now, at the, end,
the effects of it,
and say, "Oh, at the end, the tops are 4 centimeters."
Right.
Right. But then people, flat earthers, tend to think you mean like you're taking that into account in your materials, which you just wouldn't.
No, that's with within tolerances of error. You know what I mean? But you would never be able to measure that small.
The Verrazano Bridge, I think they say, changes by more than a foot just winter to summer because of the contraction of the metal. So when they say, 4 centimeters difference in the top, you're like, well, you wouldn't actually take it into account.
Right. That's too small of a span. So Rhonda, welcome. You have a question for Jeran? Behave yourself, Rhonda.
Yeah. Well, Jeran, I never followed you. I found Flat Earth, the back roads through old world history and all of that kind of stuff. And, throughout, I've been doing this for, several years. And I used to have people in my comments saying, there was a guy on Netflix that proved Flat Earth wrong. And I'm sorry, I apologize. I never knew who you were. Because, in case people don't know, most Flat Earthers are independent thinkers. And most of the people I hang out with, they knew about, all of this stuff long before, Anyway, so I'm going to get back to, I'm just going to say, you have to understand that I had to deal with people in my comments saying, Flat Earther proves the Earth is flat, and I didn't even look into it. I didn't, but it was annoying.
Yeah, talking about me is annoying for me. But the thing about that,
so when I found out,
sorry, that's what Rhonda does.
No, go ahead.
I will continue. When I found out that you were the guy involved in this, because I was hit up with this 24-hour sun before it was announced. I had people in my comments saying, and I'll get into that, it smells. So I did hit you up in Telegram, and I was like, oh my gosh, because I'm sorry, as a fellow researcher that's, we're all trying to do what we're doing here. I was honestly shocked. I didn't know you, and then I found out you were involved in this, and it's suspect. So help me out here.
Rhonda, land the plane. I don't know if you asked a question there or.
No, I did. I'm asking him. He was involved in one thing, and then another.
Right. So
let him answer.
Yeah. So Behind the Curve, basically a bunch of people had signed on to do this movie, this documentary, and I had never been signed on to it. They had already kind of agreed to the movie and everything. And then those guys called me and said, hey, we heard you're doing an experiment. Can we come film it? We've got a camera crew. We've got all these cameras. We got drones. So I said, yeah, we're doing this experiment. You can come film it. So those guys came out and filmed my experiment. I was the last one who signed the document. They gave them permission to use me however they wanted. And I let them come out because I was going to do the experiment, and I thought it was cool to have somebody come film it. So they misrepresented the experiment. So there was a bunch of observations over the night, like 20 of them, and some of them leaned towards flat and some of them leaned towards globe. And so at the end of that, we all walked away thinking nothing was proven. And I thought it wasn't even going to make the documentary. And when somebody saw the documentary, they told me, oh, the final scene was you saying interesting. I'm like, what do you mean? And they're like, that you saw the light, you told him to hold it above his head, and when you saw it, it proved the globe. And you said interesting. I'm like, what? That never happened. What are you talking about? So when I saw the movie, I was livid because it actually made me more of a flat earther, because I said, if you can't prove the globe on your own, you have to misrepresent an experiment, then you must be lying for a reason. So all those things made me more of a flat earther. But I get it. I mean, people just either could believe the movie or believe, oh, and by the way, those people were supposed to give me extra footage. They never gave me any extra footage. They had to go back on their word. They also could have been sued if they would have ever said that I proved globe. So anybody who said that I proved globe was making that assumption based on what the movie showed, right? Nobody in the movie said I proved globe. That was never mentioned. That was never even, they did a smart thing by just letting the audience come to their own conclusion. So no problem with that. Now with this one, did I think of that before going? Well, I didn't really care. I was honest in Behind the Curve, and I was honest on this trip. And that's all that matters to me, is that I'm being honest, and there's no funny business going on. There's no funny business by anybody that was on this trip.
No, tell me when I can,
Go ahead.
let me explain. As someone who's been in this battle, and I've been in the trenches for a long time here. And so I've had so many people tell me that the sun, dictates the shape of the earth. I have a problem with that, my friend.
Well, the only reason you have a problem with
And
that.
I also have a problem with.
Hold on. Jeran was responding. You were done.
No. Let me finish my statement.
You did. You were going on to a second point, Rhonda.
Let me just say real quick that if the sun proved the flat earth, that's all you'd hear about is flat earthers saying that the sun proves the flat earth or shows the flat earth. But because the sun clearly shows that the globe is true, flat earth has to make up this idea that you can't tell the shape of the ground by the lights in the sky. That's ridiculous. Think of everything that we do, from solving murders or anything that we do. We're always taking all the evidence into consideration. We never say, like, you can't tell who killed this person by the splatter of blood on the wall. No, you can. It'll help you. It's evidence. So people just let flat earthers, or not people let them, but flat earthers let each other and encourage each other to say something that has never been said in any point of life ever. When we originally said that.
Okay, no. You're cutting me off. I let you talk. Let me talk.
Go ahead.
I told you about that I had to deal with trolls for years in my comments talking about behind the curve. I'm addressing right after the final experiment, there was worldwide press out there. And there were certain disturbing headlines that I heard that were biblical creationists were out there proving, flat earthers, like we're the big bangers and stuff. So that's my issue, buddy. This is
I
behind
didn't
the curve
understand what you said. Your issue is what?
My issue is the bad press.
Yeah, well, the flat earth is always going to get bad press. It's never going to get good press.
Oh, no. The final experiment gave us bad press by calling it, they acted like some pastor went out there. I mean, no, you can't. The bad press, y'all hadn't even put out your videos yet. And the bad press was out there. The damage was done. And I've dealt with 2,000 at the minimum trolls in my comments.
What bad press? What are you talking about?
The bad press was
the news stories.
Globers go, flat earthers go to prove flat Earth in Antarctica.
Yeah, that happened. That happened after Jeran did his first video.
We know the Earth is flat, my friend. That was bad press.
Rhonda,
this is a massive psyop. Anyway, go ahead. Carry on.
So would you want to know if the Earth isn't flat?
I know it's not flat, my friend. You're barking up the wrong tree.
Well, it isn't flat.
You put out bad press.
Freudian slip, Jeran. Freudian slip.
You were keeping people dumbed down from seeking truth, and I see through you guys.
First thing I agreed with you ever on, Rhonda.
Globey, let's not forget. You gave me 3 different curves on YouTube with no math matching it. So let's just cut.
Are you talking about the rocket video?
I'm talking about all 3 of your videos.
What
I've
videos?
got the video. I've got the video.
I love Rhonda.
I love you too. Anyway, carry on.
By the way, Kipti's curvature never changes, so I don't know what you're talking about.
Jeran, though, buddy, you don't speak for us. You do not speak for flat earthers.
Never said
we are all independent researchers. I found flat Earth from history.
Okay.
Did you think he was speaking for you?
I never claimed to speak.
That's what he's trying to do. The headlines are flat earthers, and
I didn't write the news articles.
Oh, bless your heart. Oh, you're a victim. Okay, good.
So he was a flat earther that went there and changed his mind. So the headline wasn't technically wrong, right?
Most flat earthers are biblical flat earthers.
It didn't say Jeran changed the minds of all flat earthers and speaks for all flat earthers. I mean, you're making a weird assumption there.
Are we playing dumb? You weren't manipulating the population here.
Some of us are playing dumb. Some of us are.
My friends. I mean, really.
Thanks for coming by. Wish I could find this button. Thanks, Rhonda. Appreciate your opinion as always.
Yeah, I wish you could change people's minds, but you can't, and you have to look at it like, well, people couldn't change my mind either. So it's kind of a, you know, you're just running up a hill with snowballs coming down at you. You're just not going to make it up there.
No, you're not. What's up, Josh? How are we today? Are you there still? Hasselblad. All right, we'll leave him in. We'll call someone else. Oh, Fredo's good. He's the male version of Rhonda, so I apologize before.
That's all right. I'm used to it.
Okay. What's up, Fredo?
Hey, brother, how are you?
Good. Some questions?
So, all right, not a question. Me and you, we're still at it. And your date is coming on the 23rd. Again.
Is this about me? Are you here for me?
Always. I'm always here for you, Globey. Always. I just want to stress my point. The 23rd
I love you too. I love all you guys.
The 23rd is coming. And you made a promise to me that after the 23rd, you'd become a flat earther if Venus was still in the sky.
Yeah, he thinks Venus doesn't set. I don't even know what his real point is, but
the point is you can't see it at this time frame in the morning and night, and we can on a spinning globe. And I'll prove you and Stingrays. No one's proven it to me. So
the models show it. You don't believe the models?
It will disappear for 20 days. It's always there, mate. It will disappear for 20 days. That's because it'll be in feed, and then it will be superior on the other side. But we are seeing it way longer than we should.
Okay. I mean, I'm sure you could show me the math on why you think that, but
on the 23rd, I'll get back to you.
All right. Okay.
Jeran, wanted to ask you a question.
Sure.
So where do you stand now?
That I think that the Earth is definitely a sphere, and that it cannot be flat. And from there, I mean, that's pretty much all I can determine from the trip and the things I saw on the trip. So,
and that's based on just on a 24-hour sun?
And then also the sunset direction in the south goes right to left, which means that it can't be an AE map. The 69 miles per degree is something we figured out. The sun being upside down, the moon being upside down. We did sunspot observations. It's not a reflection because we looked for any change in the sun. The sun's it's the same sun all the way around. The sunspots were flipped versus the USA versus when we were down there. And then really it hit me when I was down there watching the sun, and this is something nobody ever told me. It was something I figured out on my own, that I was like, oh man, if I walk towards the sun being at its lowest every day, if I just kept walking there, I would eventually end up where the sun would be balanced all the way in the sky, and that would be the South Pole. And then I started thinking about people that would be to my left or to my right in Antarctica, and I realized, if they walk towards the southern part of the sun, they would end up at the same place I would. So that made me realize that the South Pole is real, which if the South Pole is real, obviously the flat Earth can't be real. The flat Earth has to have a South Pole everywhere, right? Everywhere on the outside would be the South Pole. So then when we went back to Punta Arenas, observing the South Pole.
It wouldn't be a pole. It'd just be a surrounding barrier. Really.
Correct, but the difference between everybody walking towards the south sun and all walking away from each other, but when you're down there, you can see, we would all walk towards the same bottom part of the sun, which would put us at the same spot eventually. So there is a South Pole. And then getting back to Punta Arenas and looking at the South Celestial Pole just made you think, wait a second. So there's a North Pole. Obviously, the North Celestial Pole is above it. There's the South Pole, the South Celestial Pole. So the South Pole's below it. So there's no flat Earth that can have a South Pole, North Celestial Pole, South Celestial Pole with the stars turning opposite directions. Just doesn't work.
Okay. So can I just ask just on that then, what made you become a flat earther in the first place?
The South it seemed like the South was a lie. There was no videos of the 24-hour sun when, in 2014. The Earth measures flat as far as we could tell. I mean, my wife and I first experiment was 4 miles, which isn't much, but when you do 4 miles and we could actually pick up the laser at like 6 inches off the sand. Now, going back.
Okay, so just on that, how do you address that then, now?
So because
that measurement still existed.
Right. So we took it as four miles, and we did the 8 inches per mile squared, which comes out to so 432 is whatever it is, 128, right? So it's about 10 feet. But the problem was we weren't smart enough at the time to recognize that our camera was 3.5 feet off the ground, picking up the. So when you change it to 3.5 foot observer height, looking over 4 miles, the curvature is 6 inches.
Yeah.
So that's why we were able to pick it up.
So is there any more real startling evidence that converted you from a globe to a flat in the first place? Because it seems like that you have always been a globe person, and because there are so many other contradicting, like a photograph that's just been taken, the world record. It's a proven photograph. That's 275 miles long. Okay, now at that mountain at 12,000 whatever it is feet, 16,000 feet, there's 4,000 feet of curvature. I'm an Indigenous man, an Aboriginal man, right? So my people have been here for 60,000 years. We have lived by the same stars. That's how we got around. So
you're in Australia?
They have not moved. So for me,
the worst part about it is he lives down there.
Well, but don't you see the sun rise from your south?
Yeah, we do, and that's why I've sort of come to a point that maybe, and I have spoken to Stingray about this in depth, and he's right. You know, where I live in Esperance, I watch it come south. I do that, but it got me thinking there could be a second sun, and it has got me thinking, and I do believe that it could happen. Like I've looked into things.
So why is there no videos of that? Why don't we have?
Well, there are. There are plenty.
But there's videos of like the sun dog, or like there's a reflection sun. But anybody who zooms in will see that only one of them is the sun. Nobody's ever zoomed in and seen sunspots on one sun, then zoomed out, zoomed back in.
Look at my photos. I've zoomed in to the sun, and it is very much. I've zoomed right into the sun.
Right.
I've never seen a sunspot ever in my life on there, and I've seen what looks to be like a. Pardon?
You want to have a solar filter if you want to look at the sunspots.
Yeah, that's fine. And I've got a sun filter, but I've never seen a real sun photograph. It looks like it is just a.
Come on, Fredo. Show us your sun filter.
So, like, go look at Crow 777. Crow 777 has a hydrogen alpha telescope. The sun has features. The sun has.
I've never seen a feature on it.
It's a physical thing. Go look up Crow 777. It's Crow CRROW 777. He's been a truther for 10, 15 years, and he's got a hydrogen alpha telescope he just got, and clearly the sun has.
So you think the sun is nuclear fusion?
No, I don't know I didn't claim that. So
okay,
I don't know.
Well, I'm just saying. Well, if you're saying
the
sun
in the globe, I don't have to believe in everything that they believe in. I haven't done any research on that. I'm not an astrophysicist. I'm not a sun major.
Right.
Yeah.
When flat earthers get into cosmology, right? It's like we don't claim to know everything about the universe.
Yeah.
Right. So poking holes in things like dark matter, dark energy, like great. Poke holes. Fine. No one claims that proves the globe Earth. That doesn't even like why you even talk. We can't look at the sky to measure the ground, but look at cosmology to prove the physical shape of the Earth. Right. It doesn't make sense.
Well, there's a lot that doesn't make sense. And I mean, you've spoken about this. Venus doesn't make sense.
It does make sense. If you mapped it out yourself, if you drew it out, if you modeled it, it would make sense.
But it has to be to scale. I've seen already people say this. You have to do it on GeoGebra with the real sizes of all those things because
you can't. You can't do it. But this is the thing. They want you to believe in all this, and then they tell us that it will disappear at this time and disappear. Like Venus on the size difference, it should be gone for ages.
Here,
but it disappears for 20 days. How is that even possible?
I don't know. But here's the data on your.
I'll draw it out for you. I'll try and draw it on GeoGebra because that is one thing that I have not really seen good evidence of. And I know what you're saying that if you draw the daylight side, draw the night side of Earth, it doesn't seem that you'd ever be able to see it. But I always see it on small drawings, which a small drawing is nothing like the universe.
Small drawings are not to scale.
Right, that's what I'm saying.
You've got to look at the Venus. We can fit 1.4 Venuses into the sun. Now,
What?
the problem is yeah, we can.
1.4?
We can-
What do you mean?
1.4 million Venuses
gotcha.
into the sun.
Okay,
right?
gotcha.
So the object's supposed to be huge, but the problem with it is, it says that we can see it at 9 a.m. and 9 p.m. This is the problem on a spinning globe.
Why?
You can't see it every single morning. Every single morning. If it's to the right of us at 9 a.m., I'll see it, but at 9 p.m., I'm facing this way. I can't be looking at 9 a.m. this way and then 9 p.m. looking in a completely different direction and seeing Venus.
No,
It is impossible. We can.
I'll do it on GeoGebra and see what I can come up with.
Yeah, if you could, that'd be great. I'll tag you in this, and
I'll do it for Fredo.
Thanks, brother. Appreciate it. Because Stingray hasn't been able to do it. Globey hasn't been able to do it.
Can you stop saying people can't do it?
Just stop. I didn't say can't. I didn't say people. I said you and Stingray. I said you and Stingray.
We are people, right?
Oh,
Have I sat down and tried to model this for you?
Listen to the guy that used to make fun of everyone.
Yeah, pull up Stellarium, pull up Celestia, pull up Starry Night Pro, pull up any of those models. It models everything to scale already. And you can see for yourself. No, see, this is the problem. You want common sense. Bro, Fredo, Fredo, hold on. Hold on, Fredo. If you model this to scale in 3 dimensions and then look at that model and then press play and it matches reality, then you have your answer.
My reality is
your reality.
My reality is my senses. And what I see and what I visually see. Why are we chucking this all out for models? You can't see
it's a model.
If you're on a spinning globe, you can't see an object in the morning and at night in the same spot. It can't be done. It just can't be done. It's not even smart. It's just pure common sense. It can't be fucking done.
If somebody proved that it could, would you change your position?
Well, they've tried to. I've had it with Hassel.
That wasn't his question.
So I'm saying they have been trying to prove it. But the problem is they use an angle of we can see this far facing Venus.
No,
and then when we turn...
I get you. I want to see the same thing. I want to see it with in real scale, because the problem is if you draw it on paper, it will always show you that you would never be able to see Venus.
No, they've all drawn it on paper and shown Venus, that we can see Venus, because they draw the sun at this small. And they say, well, you can see around it.
Let's do it on scale.
So if the orbit is 255 days, right? I've now seen Venus in the sky for over 200 days. And Globey knows this. I've seen it since September the 4th. That's since I've recorded it, since September the 4th. We are nearly in March. And I've seen it in its orbit for nearly 200 days in the same spot. And I've recorded it in the same spot. You know what they come back and say to me? You're not looking at Venus. You're not looking at Venus. So I pull up their star maps. I do it. It's in the same spot for 200 days. What time do
you see it at? 9 a.m.?
9 p.m.
9 a.m. and 9 p.m.?
Yep.
Okay, so in
Western Australia.
Okay, I'll put you in Western Australia. Western Australia.
6.
So where are you?
6 or
Perth?
7. Esperance.
Okay.
Fredo,
now,
when you see the sun set right to left, when you see it go, if you're looking west and the sun's setting.
It's really weird over there, bro. The way it does it.
Okay. It doesn't fit the flat Earth, right?
It just doesn't seem to be, when I look at it on the map, and then I look at it on a flat Earth map, like Dave Weiss's flat Earth map,
right?
The sun doesn't seem to be, you're exactly right.
Yeah.
When I saw the sun, where it's coming from, where I see it coming from in Esperance, it is 100% coming from south. It's coming over Antarctica.
Okay, so now listen to me real quick and just follow what I'm saying. We know that the sun is above the Tropic of Capricorn. It has to be. There's no arguing. There's no debate. So that means that the Tropic of Capricorn is where you see the sun coming from, which means that that's the other side of the globe.
Not coming from it's not coming from Tropic of Capricorn. It's really weird. I showed Stingray this, where it's coming from. It's from where I live in Esperance. I face Antarctica.
Okay.
So where I see it, I've taken photos. You can go on my page. It's coming over. It's coming over those mountains. It's coming over like towards the ocean from that ocean.
Right. So
it
that's
does
what I'm
look
saying is
weird.
that's the line of this is the Tropic of Capricorns over there, under the earth.
Yeah, maybe. Look, I don't understand it, and it's one thing I did say to Stingray. You know, it doesn't make sense, but that angle that it's doing the sun's path is very unusual. It is unusual, and I have to dive into it a bit more as well to try and figure it out. But
I'll tag you. I'll tag you in the video that I do because I do want to. Venus gets brought up a lot, so I want to show that.
Yeah. Okay. Yeah.
And Fredo, here's Venus. It says it's east in the morning, and then as I go to nighttime, it says it's northwest.
Yeah.
So either this is wrong or you're lying about Venus being in the same spot in the sky.
No, sorry, I apologize. Same spot in the sky at night.
It's
At
not
night.
though. Oh, every night you mean? Like the next day?
Bro, look at my videos.
Yeah, look, I'm changing days. It's moving slightly. I'm just changing days. I know. Hold on, chill out. I'm moving days, but I'm keeping the time the same. I'm just moving days.
I don't care what that says.
It's getting lower and lower in the sky until it disappears.
Globey, look
Okay,
at my
what's the problem?
videos. I am taking it at the certain time every time.
That's what this
What
is.
date is that? What date is that though that it'll disappear?
So I
it
did
won't
it
disappear till March, till early March.
Well, it's hard to say because
He's
it
been
depends
trying to
on
do
how
this.
dark it is to see it, right? Like,
True, and what's in the way and everything.
Yeah.
I don't know
Yeah.
if this is dark enough to really see Venus, but this is the 25th.
Yeah, me and Globey had an argument in October, and he said it would disappear or he would become a flat earther on the 23rd of January. I messaged him back, and we had another chat just after the 25th, and he said it will disappear on the 23rd of February.
I think I said 25th.
Pardon?
Globey, are you going to be a flat earther?
Yeah, I'm betting all of this on how bright his sky is here. This is what I'm betting on. I'm betting my whole channel, my whole following on how bright his sky is. When I'm showing you that this, like, I don't know if it's bright enough to see this right now, see Venus during this time. This is the 25th. It's pretty bright, but I see Venus on Stellarium, like there's a dot there, but that's not reality. Like, I don't know if that's reality.
What time is it?
Can you see Venus at 9 a.m.?
It's like 6 o'clock.
No,
6 p.m.
I'm just asking, on that day, what time do you, 6 is it? Okay.
I don't know, man. It's a computer program. I don't know if it's technically going to be visible, but it's a 6 p.m. on 2/25. There's Venus in the sky.
You'll see it at 6 p.m.
Probably. It will be completely under the horizon at 6 p.m. on 3/13. Let's see if it's ever above the horizon. I don't think so.
Moving the globe posts.
Moving the globe posts. So the point is, if you model this, you'll see exactly where it goes under the earth and doesn't come back. Like, I don't even understand your problem.
The issue that they're having is that if you drew the earth and then Venus and Mercury and the sun, and then you drew the day-night line on the earth, that never could you be able to see Venus at all. It would always be on the daylight side of the earth.
Well, right? I don't think that's even what he's saying, is it?
Oh, is that not what you're saying?
It's not even what I'm saying. So what I'm saying is Globey's saying that he can see it at 6 a.m. and then we can see it at 6 p.m. Now, if we're spinning on a globe, we are facing completely in the other direction. And what Globey's trying to do, globe people try and do, they try and give your perspective, and I just did a video on this, on, we turn like this and we can see out the corner of our eye and we can see Venus still there. Mate, that sounds absolutely moronic, what they say. So the problem is, if you can see it in the morning, and you'll notice every single planet rotates nearly in 12 hours. Every single one. You can see it in the morning, you can see it at night. That makes no sense on the globe.
It doesn't make sense because you need this in scale.
No, you don't need it in scale.
Oh, you certainly do. If Venus is over here somewhere, then in the morning, over here, this is the morning, you could see it looking this way.
That's right. Now
low in the sky.
Turn at 12 o'clock.
Now, if you're over here at night,
that's right.
You can look this way and see it.
Oh, come on. Look at what he's doing.
Yeah, this was to scale. This was the to scale part of it.
That's only 6, but we can see it
That's
till 9
not
o'clock at night.
What?
We can see it till 9 o'clock at night. Keep
That's
coming
not
up.
6.
You're looking at the sun.
Keep
right
coming
there.
up. Keep coming up. That was you just got embarrassed again.
We need to make this.
That is pathetic.
It needs to be at scale. It needs to be
Fredo, I'm showing you this because I'm telling you this is why it needs to be to scale. That's why I said that before I drew it.
Draw a little dot on the page and then draw a dot way far away from it. And then
Like, really, Fredo, bear with us here.
But
I
it
can't
doesn't
bear with
need to be
you.
to scale because I keep seeing people
can't
try to
bear
do
with
it
you.
not to scale and it never works.
I can't bear with you.
Of course it would work to scale. If the ball is far enough away over here, you're going to be able to see it from both spots.
Yeah.
That's just how scale works, man. If you put Venus all the way out to where it should be, you're going to be able to see this looking that way and looking that way.
Okay, so let me ask you another question then, Globey. Here's a question for you. Okay, let's do it to your scale, all right? How long do you think...
My scale. You mean scale.
Okay, whatever scale.
This isn't supposed to be a debate, by the way.
Okay.
It's supposed to
how
be...
long do you think on an orbit of 225 days, which is the orbit of Venus, and our orbit of 365, when it goes around the sun, how long do you think we shouldn't see Venus at all, especially in the morning or not?
Well, but
Just a question.
if we're kind of with it when it's going, we would kind of be with it all the time, right?
We're nowhere near with it because it's already at 200 days. So we're not even near. We're just over halfway from our. That's nearly done a full orbit.
Yeah, but we don't start from the same spot. It's not like ready, set,
I'm just
go.
saying, pretend we did. I'm saying pretend we did. So pretend we started from the same spot, right? Okay, and it orbits at 200 days nearly now,
Sure.
right? We are. So we're around the other side. Okay, we have a massive yellow thing or white thing, whatever you want to call it, in the middle of us. Okay,
Right.
At some point, you can't see Venus in the morning or night. And you can't see Venus at all.
That's correct.
Okay, so how many days on an orbit of 225 compared to 365?
I don't know.
Should you not see Venus
Doesn't matter. Look it up, man. Why does that fact matter? Like, go look it up.
Because that's a problem.
It's not a problem.
It's a massive problem, Globey. You can't see an object if it's obscured by a massive...
And that's why it
sun.
disappears sometimes.
Yeah, sometimes. That sounds moronic. Sometimes.
At the point of the orbit, when Venus is on the other side of the sun, we don't see it.
That's called superior bloody whatever it's called, right?
I don't know.
Conjunction, superior conjunction, right? But they're never saying that we can't see it on superior junction. They're only saying we can't see it in inferior junction because Venus is sun facing. So it's saying that we only lose it for 20 days there. But here's an object that's going around the sun at 225, and we can see it, but it's passing in front of the sun for only 20 days, and we're obscured on an object that is vastly bigger than it. It should be blocked for at least 100 days, or at least 50 days.
I'm sure you could all show us the math on how you got that 100 days. I'm sure you could draw out the orbits to scale and show us how it's wrong, but you won't do it. So that's fine, Fredo.
Right here, look at it. You can see Earth and Venus are together in the orbit. See?
Yeah, I'm not.
Your
saying that.
camera's off.
Yeah, Jeran,
Right,
your camera's
flip it around.
It didn't flip. I think you turned it off. Yeah, it's wonky. You gotta tap your picture, and then there you go. Now the flip button is it's like arrows. It's like 2 arrows with a circle in the center.
It goes back to this view. What's going on?
Go to enhance.
Oh, you gotta hit.
enhance, and it'll say flip.
Oh wait, maybe every time I do that, it changes to my logo.
Oh, really?
Weird.
Maybe
Is
you're famous.
Oh, that is weird.
That is weird.
Maybe you're famous.
I'll show you this way though, real quick, because maybe you can see it. If I put it
How the
like
hell are you even doing that?
Can you see this or no?
Yeah.
Not really.
Let me make you bigger.
Put him on the big screen. Put him on the big screen, bro.
I'm gonna bring this back to.
Yeah.
Let me go to real time real quick. Hold on. Let me go to.
Yeah.
Let me go to actual time real quick. So when I went to actual time here, actual time.
Yeah.
Okay. So then I just noticed that Venus and Earth are together. See them?
Okay, now can you go back to September 4th?
Yep. So I'm just going to rewind it a little bit. Hold on.
Yep.
Don't do it that way. Where's the little chart? Sorry, it's my garage computer's not very good. Let's see if I can get this to go. Okay, so I'm just going to rewind it a little bit, just a little, and we're going to see it go. But I noticed it. Watch them how they stay together. So you said to go back to what? September what?
4th.
Okay, so see how they're together. So you would see it. This is the beginning of February.
I can't see it. Go down a bit, bro. Yep.
There?
Yeah. September 4th we need.
Okay, let me go back there. We're at January,
Yep.
December, November. Come on, don't go too fast. October, so September what?
4th.
Okay, that's September 4th right there.
Okay. So you could see now. Look at on the left side, the side facing you, right?
Shit, everything's flipped too.
Okay. Yeah. So say there, I could see which side would be darkness. The side facing you, correct? Yep.
Correct.
Good. So at 10 o'clock at night, point your finger. It's probably near the H. Would that be about 10 or T?
Yeah, it's all flipped.
Okay, so I was seeing Venus at 10
That's not
o'clock
the
at
scale.
night on the 7th, on the 6th, on the 4th of September.
Okay, yeah, I'll try and draw it on GeoGebra
Thanks.
at least because you have to
Okay.
read the real sizes and see what it does.
Done. But just in that model, did that make sense that I could see it at 10 o'clock at night?
No, I don't
No.
think that scale you can't. Doesn't make sense.
Thank you. All right, beautiful people. Globey, good to hear from you again. Hope you're a flat earther on the 24th. I'll call you, message you on the 24th to make sure that you're living up to your word, brother. That's the whole point.
I'll be waiting for it. I can't wait.
Jaran, nice to meet you. It's sad to lose you, but I don't think we ever had you in the first place. But nice.
You did. But you lost me.
Enjoy. Have a good day.
You're not the only one. There's a lot of people too. It's well, I don't know if it's a lot.
Look.
Melodome, Rose
At the
777.
end of the day, Jeran, truthfully, I just want the truth. And if it is a globe, I'm happy with that. If it's flat, I'm happy with that. I just think the elites have got away with so much shit and ugliness in the world, and I'm just trying to figure it out myself.
Hey, Fredo, real quick question. Why in my DMs did you tell me the Earth was a globe?
What?
Oh, we lost Fredo. Sorry. Maybe you can answer that later, Fredo. I was just messing with him.
Luke Harper wrestler?
That's what the hell is his name?
Oh, Jesus.
That's someone's yelling at me right now. Cody.
Ron, right?
This is my Ron. This is my Ron. No, this is Flat Earther Ron.
I don't know.
He is a wrestler though. I forget his name. Cody. No, what the hell's his name? Luke Brody. Luke Brody, WWE.
Sorry, I'm hungry.
It's my Slayer doll. He looks just like a Flat Earther on here. Let's get next guest up here. What's up, True by Science? He is not a Flat Earther.
No, I wanted to ask Jeran now, since he's been presented with this new information from the final experiment. What is your take on satellites and satellite imagery now?
I mean, I'm pretty sure that satellites exist, and there's lots of them. I mean, obviously, we use Starlink to do everything we did down there, so that's pretty concrete. As far as images from satellites, I have a guy he just tried it yesterday. I guess he was able to download images from GOES West or something.
Yeah.
So I saw those today. They're not pictures of the Earth. They're more like scans, right? They're not. It's not like
they have full color digital imagery, but they do have overlays of other information like CO2 and SO2.
Yeah, I wouldn't deny them outright.
Well, did you deny them before? I don't. Sorry, Jeran. I
Yeah, I
do
think
know
so.
you, but I didn't know you as much until the final experiment. Then
No, I
learned
think I
about
did. I did deny most of them. I mean, I still have a problem with like Himawari. I'm not sure that that is a legit photograph as much as they say it is, but I'm looking into that stuff. So I don't like to really speak much on those things until I've at least given them more effort or more time now that I've seen what I've seen.
Understandable. Yeah, that's what I really wanted to know. It's like, was he? I didn't know. I don't watch any of your stuff before, so I'm like coming into this like new about who you are and stuff. So I was like wondering if you still hold the same, because you have to deny that there's orbits, right?
You mean to be a flat earther?
Yeah, to be a flat earther, you have to deny that there's anything orbiting, because that implies that there is some velocity that you have to move at where the curvature of the Earth curves away from you.
Yes. Yeah, it's hard to explain any orbit. You wouldn't even be able to explain it with just speed above the Earth, because then how is it flying and not breaking up in the atmosphere or something, you know? So it does seem that things are.
Did you deny a vacuum in space?
Yeah.
All right.
Mm-hmm.
So
Why?
you didn't believe that there was such a lack of any molecular interactions to actually cause satellites to.
Yeah, I would still question that a little bit, but I mean, the satellites obviously are moving up there and they're not being impeded by much, so it must be like a vacuum. But I mean, I don't really believe that nothing exists.
No. I don't even think any scientist really would say that nothing exists within space. There's fluctuating fields within space everywhere around us that particles are coming in and out, virtual particles and stuff like that. That's quantum mechanics.
So you believe in okay, but if there's not, isn't some of this space nothing?
No, really. There's a measurement that you could look at. It's in ergs. It's a type of it's an energy that is throughout the entire universe. There's technically not a perfect vacuum.
Right.
That doesn't exist.
Right, because nothing can't exist.
There's always a certain amount of energy per cubic foot of space. There's a certain amount of fluctuating energy.
Do you guys question anything about space at all, or do you buy into the whole? I mean, there's a remote control car on Mars, all that.
There definitely is.
Yeah.
There definitely is. I know people. I've worked with people that built that rover, the multiple rovers that we've landed on Mars, and like the Europa Clipper. I don't know if you know him, Johnny Astronomy. He's on here.
Somebody else brought him up earlier.
Yeah, he works for NASA.
Oh, cool. Yeah, my goal is I'm going to find some of this stuff out, because I still think there's enough conspiracy theories out there, conspiracy theorists that don't buy into a lot of this stuff. So I think I'm in a position to where if I kind of introduce myself, who I was, hey, I went down, I changed my opinion based on my evidence, maybe they'll let me come and show some stuff from these places to kind of bridge the gap between those who deny it and those who say
there's tours. You could actually go to if you go down to Washington D.C. There's a NASA facility down there that you could actually go to and tour it and see the satellites that they're working on, and they'll tell you what they're working on. They're pretty open about it.
That's my hope.
Yeah, and my company builds satellites. Actually, the satellites are pretty new. We used to build just the GPS component of the satellites, but we're working on building our first 2 satellites this year. So yeah, I mean, I'm involved in it. We're involved in it. I've seen them launch. You know.
Do you still believe that we didn't go to the moon? Like, do you think that we didn't do that?
I do right now, yeah. I mean, and again, I don't like to say it much, because I also recognize that when you look into things with a certain bias, it definitely plays out. So knowing what I do now, I have to go back and reassess some of these things. So it's hard to just say, if you're asking me, did I believe that we didn't go to the moon? Yes. And so, do I still believe that? Well, yeah, because I haven't dug through that enough to change my opinion on that. And it's not, and I don't think it's smart to just say, "Oh, because I was wrong about this," that all things that were ever said are true.
Just look into I would say the best would be to look into the NASA archives. Look at the actual film, or they still have that film. You could actually look at the real film if you go to the Florida base down there. They still have strips, the film strips from the Hasselblad cameras that you could actually physically look at. There's a lot. They have the lander, the return vehicle, the return capsule. They still have that.
There was a cool analysis done that gets brought up a lot. They analyzed the movement of the dust coming off the lunar rover wheels.
I've seen that. It's pretty good.
Have you seen the analysis of it? Where they
Craig do it. Craig played the flat Earth bit.
Yeah, because you can't have the rooster tail that it creates within a atmosphere or the gravitational force of Earth.
Right. If there was an atmosphere, those particles would slow down.
Yeah, it would slow down a lot faster, and the arc
Right.
would run a lot.
What I've always said is that, let's say it is a soundstage. Why couldn't they evacuate most of the air out of the soundstage? The guys were in suits.
The largest vacuum chamber that we had at the time was by NASA, and it would not have been large enough to create the shots that they were able to get. Like when the return module had to leave, it blew out a lot of the what people would say the cellophane or like the tinfoil on it, right?
Right, but that wouldn't be
Captain Foil.
That would be
well. That was that heat shield. You could see that material going out, and you could calculate the rate of which that material goes out.
I think I would answer that by saying, you'd have to trust video, right? But there's video, 360-degree video,
yes,
from the rover in later missions when they were just panning the camera around 360 degrees during their missions. Don't think you could do that. I don't think a vacuum exists. Yeah. There's a video.
It's hard to find a lot of that. The
Apollo 15. I think that was the best one they have, right? Or
Yeah, 15. They should just film like for hours and just play it on TV, and like they would just film them doing stuff, right? And you just watch it live.
Right now, if you went to YouTube right now and looked up NASA moon rover, you're going to find only that Grand Prix video and a couple others. There's very little. It's all been taken off.
Did you know the Earth?
I think you just got to look a little bit. You'll find it.
Look for it.
Did you know the Earthrise photo should have never existed?
Yeah.
Because they weren't supposed to use that film for what they used it for, because they had every frame was accounted for what they were going to take photos of, and they did it out of order, and they actually took photos that they weren't supposed to.
Yeah. So I don't know if you got a lot of your anti-moon stuff from Funny Thing Happened on the Way to the Moon, the Bart Sibrel stuff.
Not really. I actually think that he was. I used to think he was giving that stuff on purpose, but.
Oh yeah.
Well, he says he got it on an accident. Like they sent him this highly, confidential.
Right.
Stuff. Doesn't seem very legit.
If so, I'll tell you, and back in, I think that came out in '99. I want to say, I could be wrong, something around there. I bought that one back then, and watched it, and was a full believer that the moon landing was fake.
Mm.
It was fun. It was fun to believe that, and it was cool. Watched it. I was like, wow, look at this, and
yeah.
And if you listen to it, the narrator in that British accent is telling you this story. It's a story. Right. How does she know that he forgot to push the stop button on the recorder and kept filming? Right. If you watch it again with a critical eye and ask yourself, how does she know what she's saying to you?
Right.
You realize he's just making up a fucking story.
Yeah.
Right. And the part where he films the Earth out the small window, right? There's another part of that film he didn't show you. You can go watch the whole uncut film of that original footage is up there, and there's a whole part he didn't show you where they're filming the Earth out one of the square windows.
And then they back away or something.
Well, no, it's just a shot of the Earth out the window, and it's a little tiny Earth, and it's a square window, so they're not using a round window to make it look like a round, Earth or a faraway Earth, right? So he cut that part out of the film. So I guess my point is just
Yeah, relook
your
at it.
newfound skills, right? Go back and look at these things and take a critical eye at them.
So, do you know about Stephen Hawking's helicopter experiment where they faked it?
Stephen Hawking's?
So they had that show called Genius where they show the helicopter disappearing behind the water.
Yeah, it was Nat Geo, right, or something, I think.
No, it was PBS. Nat Geo didn't.
Oh, PBS? Yeah, I know what you're talking about, yeah.
Yeah, so like that, I'm supposed to give a presentation at Skepticamp, I guess, next month. And I'm gonna give a good presentation about how I changed my mind, but at the end of it, I'm gonna point out that that's a problem, is that if science is going to lie to people and use CGI, and then they're basically gaslighting flat earthers, and that's like the worst thing you could do is fake science, because
it is.
Yeah, it is something I cannot answer for, right? Like I can come back and I can tell everybody, oh, the Earth's actually a globe, and we were wrong about the flat Earth. But if they then ask me why did Stephen Hawking fake his experiment, I have no answer for that, because it shouldn't have been done, and it is 100% provably faked.
You're 100% right. It shouldn't have been faked. I don't know.
They need to think about that, because you have these guys. There's one guy, I forgot. He's like the head of Ars Technica, I think, and he's doing a video where he talks about, what compels flat earthers to question the science, and he actually shows that video as if it's real. He's showing like,
oh, really?
The helicopter goes behind this water, and these guys, they all had a problem and said that it's not real, but it is real. It's like, okay, now this is the problem, is that we need flat earthers if people like that, so-called skeptics, aren't able to determine that those are fake. Like if there was no flat earthers, all globe believers just would have believed that outright. They wouldn't even have.
But you also, like, they weren't so this is where I go with that. They weren't doing that to prove the Earth was round, right?
No, the point of the show was three ordinary people are going to prove the shape of the Earth.
Okay, that was the goal of the show.
Yeah. The goal of the show was called Genius. It was like everyday people can learn things, but that particular episode was the shape of the Earth.
So the only thing I would say is thinking in terms of Hollywood, right? And budgets and stuff, is they were just cutting corners. They were just cutting corners.
Yeah, I think that they probably got out there and realized, because they were doing 6 miles and then they wanted to get the helicopter hid behind there, but they forgot about the telescope height. So it's actually only 10 feet of curve in 6 miles if you have a telescope 4 foot high. So I think that they probably got out there and realized they couldn't get the helicopter to hide, so they just CGI'd it. And I get it, because they're like, now, like if I believe the Earth's a globe now, I get it. Like they're like, oh, the Earth's a globe. Let's just, we don't have to actually do it.
Right. They know the Earth is a globe in their mind, like, right?
Right.
So
the problem is they have to think about the fact that there are people out there who are scouring everything, looking for that fake. Because once they find that one fake, then it gives them excuses to deny all of science. And the point of science should be that we never find fakery like that.
I agree. They shouldn't have done that.
So it's just,
I'm just saying, to me, it's plausible that someone's like, you're renting a helicopter? How much is that going to cost us? Right. Then they go, no. I'll give you 2 hours with the helicopter. That's it. And then they go, all right, well, they film what they can, and they patch the rest of it together. That's all. That's the most plausible thing to me anyway. But
and that makes sense. But what I'm saying is, for conspiracy theorists, that's like gold. Once you find that, you can harp on that every day. You can bring that up when anybody brings up science. You can say, but they fake this, but they fake this. So it's just, science needs to recognize that it's the worst thing you could do if you really do care about science is to ever fake it, because you're actually doing way more damage than you can even imagine.
Right. Exactly.
Yeah.
Anyway, thanks, Dean.
Not having the show come out, it's really better for science.
Appreciate it. Are you good? I don't know how it's 12 o'clock.
I'll do one more.
Yeah. So
then I go make the wife happy. It's a rough life.
That's tough. I'm looking through comments on YouTube. All right. Someone said, thank you for what you've done. Just know there's people that really appreciate you. I'm paraphrasing. Appreciate what you've done.
Thanks. You appreciate that?
Yep. Let's see real quick I got Rhonda back, but I'm not bringing her in. I don't know if any of these are flat earthers. Let's try this guy. I'd rather get the flat earthers in here.
What's going on, guys?
Al Rock, what's up?
All hail the globe. Rotation is salvation. Just wanted to say, Jeran, I got mad respect for you, man. I think it's really cool that you went. It had to have been amazing. I'm a little jealous. And you just honestly looked at it from, I believe in flat earth. I'm going to look at where the evidence takes me. And I mean, that's what you should do.
Right.
That's probably the biggest problem is it's not so much that there isn't enough evidence. It's just that they look for evidence that conforms to their worldview, and that's the only evidence they'll accept.
Yeah, it's true. I mean, I think that from a flat earther's perspective, they would say, oh, but Globers do the same thing. Now I look at it and I say, well, the difference is that they're right? So it's okay if somebody who's right only looks at a certain amount of evidence and says, no, this is enough for me. And then a flat earther looks at that and they're like, what? How can this guy believe that based on that? But it's because they already kind of know the truth, right? Which is fine as long as you're right. But the flat earthers pretend like we know the truth and we were wrong. So that's the problem. So that's why, because they'll always say, well, the Globers don't listen to us. They don't look at our evidence. And it's like, well, now I see why, that the evidence is shoddy. It's always fudging numbers. It's always omitting evidence or omitting facts. And sometimes it doesn't become obvious until you're out, unfortunately. But thank you for the kind words. I do appreciate that because it's been hard. The hardest thing is, well, I don't think I ever really considered many of these people like friends, but still to have people that you were friends with for years, and then you find out that they just will trash your name and say it's fake and you didn't go, and all the stuff that's been going around is just ridiculous. I mean, that's another thing. I thought flat earthers were at least good enough researchers that once you see that we have 3 or 4 24-hour 360 cameras out there that you can't. We did it so that it couldn't be fake, and they still call it a soundstage, which is just insane. That's like ridiculously bad research. You couldn't do that in a soundstage if you tried. So.
Right. The thing about Stingray. So I first saw a flat Earth TikTok and I thought it was a joke. And they were very serious. And then more came up. And then I saw Stingrays and I liked his demonstrations and stuff that he does. And his big thing was when I first started watching him, he's like, if you can, falsify something that I brought up.
Get rid of that comment.
What happened?
See it right there, Luke, with the little claw thing. See it? See the last word he calls Jeran?
Yep.
I don't know.
Hi, Luke. But he was saying, falsify the globe. I wish you would, because then I can, then you can actually say that the Earth is flat. Go ahead and falsify one of these things. He's got a list of, 10 things that does not work on a flat Earth, and if you can switch a no to a yes or a yes to a no, he goes, then you falsified it. That's the whole point of science. It's not just reinforcing what we already know. They set out to falsify what's been documented, and then when they realize, okay, this is actually correct.
Right, and that's what I was doing. Right.
That's what goes into law.
I knew what would have to be seen if it was going to falsify flat Earth, and it was just something I didn't think was going to be seen, but it was exactly what was seen. So once things are falsified, I don't really believe in proof, but I do believe that you can falsify concepts for sure, and that's what happened to the AE map. And then in essence, because if people realize there's no other map right now, for some reason I don't know what it is, but flat earthers think that there'll be like it's a false dichotomy. There's another map. You can't just print us all on this one map. We don't have all the same belief. But it's like, well, you have to. If you're a flat earther, the AE map is the only map that will ever be. It's nothing now, but I'm just saying it's the only map that could have been correct. everything else, you can't lay out the continents in the North Pole and the South and the North Celestial Pole and it look any different than it. It'll just always be that way.
Right. Well, you can drop me down. Just wanted to say, man, keep your head up. People are going to be jerks.
T-Rav snoring.
I got a lot of respect for you, brother.
Thanks. Appreciate it.
All right. We have Nathan Thompson here with his Hanvi model that he was sent.
Nathan. I've got a Hanvi globe over here, a Hanvi dome.
Wow.
What's up, Nathan?
Yeah, I'm here with Joe. We went and did some sunset observations today. Did some infrared. It's pretty good.
Cool.
Good times.
So Nathan, what do you?
Yeah, I'm debating Will Duffy on a Saturday.
Oh, yeah, I got somebody sent me the link today. What is the debate about? Just shape of the Earth or something specific? Nate?
Yeah, he thinks the final experiment ended flat Earth. I guess that's the topic for the debate. His 6 arguments are the sun, the moon, the stars in the north, the stars in the south, southern flights, and the direction the sun sets. So 5 out of 6 are the sky.
Wow, you can just dismiss all of those.
Which the FAA trains pilots on a flat, non-rotating Earth.
Wow, lucky you.
Yeah,
You can dismiss all of them with a wave of a...
End flat Earth.
Nathan, did you just say the FAA
I don't
trains pilots that the Earth is flat? Did you just say that?
He did say
Pilots
that.
on a flat, not...
Nathan, do you think that
So,
hold on, let me ask something.
I know, give me a second
on board.
because I'm actually going to bed soon. So Nathan,
You got a
if
very
I go
bad
inside-
connection.
Time, please.
If
Hold on,
I go
Jeran. All the
inside-
Glovers have to talk at the same time. Otherwise, they just can't connect.
Well, I'm actually trying to ask a question, dude, and you're just started babbling. So, which one of the 7 training manuals that the FAA publishes for pilots to use for training should I go pull off of my shelf and find flat Earth in it?
The software inside the target generation facility is flat, non-rotating, and negates a gravity vector.
Yeah, it's actually not anymore since that's been re-updated as of 2012 when we updated our models for aerodynamic testing. That's not used to train pilots, Nathan. That's an engineering document. So which manual,
Okay, well,
which of
I have
the
the
7
document.
manuals I have sitting, which of the 7 manuals on my shelf that I use to train pilots that are published by the FAA do I go look in to find that pilots are trained by to fly over a flat Earth?
Wait, JT, that's a
maybe I
hard question.
misspoke.
Nathan, do you want me to give you mod
Maybe.
powers so you can mute and kick JT?
Yeah,
Yeah, sure, that'll
But
work.
what I really came up for
so-
was
Oh, wait, I guess I don't get the
before
text.
Nathan came in.
Wait, let
before
him
Nathan
answer.
came
Let him
up-
answer, JT. Let him
Okay.
answer.
Well,
Which
Yeah,
manual?
maybe the manual doesn't, but the software.
He already answered that.
Maybe the manual doesn't, but the soft. All right, bro. You guys have a good night. Have fun, Jeran. Good to see you, bud.
Too.
I want to hear about your superfluid ceiling, Nina. Oh, shit.
yeah, he just came up to derail the live, which is a question and answer for Jeran, which is what I came up to do to begin with. And then you let Nathan up here, and I knew that was going to be a shit show. He also thinks that airplanes don't use fuel, which is
I know.
outlandishly stupid. But what I was going to say is, Jeran, you said something earlier about how your friends kind of turned on you. When you said that, it popped in my head an old saying my dad used to tell me: don't go along with your pack of friends on something, and you'll start finding out who your friends are.
Right. It's true.
Right. The other thing I've been wondering, and I watched the show, what was it, Behind the Curve that you did?
Mm-hmm.
Now, I know there's some stuff in there, there's the big debate. They kind of cropped and cut things, pasted here, and, to kind of make you guys look bad. But there's one I think they did legit, was where you were at the levee, right, with your big hole in the wood.
Right. So, I mean, there was about 20 observations done, and they only showed the one.
Right.
So we had not seen the light at 28, or what was it, 17 and 23. We had not seen it at 23. So when he went down to 17, we thought we were going to see it. So when I didn't see it, I'm like, why don't we see it? I said, hold it above your head. he held it above his head and we saw it. And the reason I said interesting is because that's the middle, right? So we didn't see it at 23 feet. We didn't see it at 17. He held it above his head, so we saw it at 19 and a half. Now, the movie said that that was 23 feet, which anybody who was just thinking, and nobody ever thought, there's not one person who's ever came to me and said, hey, that's weird. If a guy holds the light at his chest and then holds it above his head, that's not 6 feet. So why did the movie, people just glossed over it because it's what they wanted to hear. They wanted to see that the Earth was proven to be a sphere. So they misrepresented the experiment and they lied about it. So,
Okay.
I mean, that's the facts of the matter. But again, the other thing is, I mean, imagine that I go out and I did, let's say I went out that night and I did 20 experiments or 20 observations, and one of them showed flat Earth. Imagine if I took that one scene and put it at the end of my movie and said that the Earth was proven to be flat.
Oh, of course, I agree. I agree. I never heard, what took place throughout like the other experiments.
Right. So if you go to my website, Jeranism.com, and click videos on the top, the very first video up there is called Interesting. And it's where I show all the emails and show all the proof that they misrepresented. They know they'd misrepresented it because they promised to give me the extra footage. Well, the extra footage would prove that. So after the movie came out, I said, okay, now I want the extra footage. And they said, oh, we signed paperwork with Netflix that says we can't give you the extra footage. I'm like, what do you mean, the footage that didn't make the documentary? Why would you ever agree to that? It's not in the documentary. But it made sense that because they couldn't let people see that they misrepresented the final experiment. So anyway, but I mean,
so on the part where you said interesting, so you're saying, if I remember right, your holes were at like 17 feet or something like that?
17 and 23, yeah.
Okay. And so he held it
above his head. It was at his chest when it was at 17 feet. And then I told him, hold it above your head. And he held it at full arm's length. But if you measure your chest to your full arm's length, that's about 2.5 feet. So it means we saw it at 19 and a half, which is actually closer to flat than it is to curved. But that's why
I have long arms, so it's like 3 feet from me. But
yeah, so we all walked away from that night saying that nothing was proven. And there was like 25 people there. I mean, everybody walked away saying nothing was proven. So it wasn't until the movie came out that I found out that there, somebody told me, oh, you were the end of the movie, and you said interesting. I'm like, what? What do you mean?
Right. Yeah, and that's where I was going. So you couldn't see the light at 17, correct?
On that particular observation, earlier we could, and earlier we saw it at 23 as well. But on that observation, no, we didn't see it at 17.
But you saw it at 19 and higher. Okay.
Right.
Now, knowing that you now understand like refraction and stuff, do you think that earlier in the night when you had varying temperatures and pressures going on because you got the cooling taking place, so you've got a very unstable atmosphere, which can cause cause refractive index to increase.
Toon wants to do it.
That may be why you saw it earlier at 17, and then once the atmosphere kind of stabilized and the refractive index wasn't so vastly different, that would be why your 17 was disappearing.
Yeah, I think that's probably it. I mean, MC Toon wants to go do it again. He has a better idea.
I would agree that'd be a good idea to do.
Yeah. So,
but my thing was thinking like, was that interesting? I was really curious. Is you couldn't see it at 17, but he held it up and you saw it, and then you said interesting. Even though it is 2 feet higher, not the 23 or whatever, but you saw it higher than you expected. He had to hold it higher than you expected to see it. Was that interesting in your mind? I was wanting to pick. Was that kind of a like interesting? Like this is.
No,
I can't see it at 17 anymore.
No, it was interesting because we'd already looked for 23 feet and it wasn't there. And then I was excited because I thought it was going to be 17, which would have been great evidence. But then we didn't see it there, and it was like, man, I don't see it. And I was like, hold it above your head. And then when I saw it, I said, that's interesting because that's in the middle.
Right.
It's between them both.
What you proved is you need to make a prediction before you do the experiment and include all the variables like refraction, right?
Yeah, and then also MC Toon actually if you really look at it, MC Toon did the math on it again and actually said that we should have seen it at 19 and a half feet. So he then made a video saying, oh, it actually did show curve. And then I went to him and said, dude, I've already told you that there was 20 observations that night. I said, what you're doing is you're taking one of those 20, doing the math on it, and when it shows the globe, you're promoting that as that's the end all be all. I'm like, if we would have done that, if there was observations at night, and I can, if you watch that video I just told you, there's emails where the girl even says, the producer, there was observations at night where we saw the light at 17 feet. So that alone, I'm like, Yeah. So imagine if you just took that piece
Right.
and put that at the end of the movie and said that we proved the Earth was flat. There'd be a problem with that.
Right.
So
It's cherry picking. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and that's all it is. So that wasn't like one observation. We went and saw it. Hold it above your head. We saw, oh, it's curved. No, that was like in the middle. And by the way, there was observations after that. So that's why I said, like, where's the part of the movie where, as soon as I say that, where's the 20 people coming up and we all talk about the fact that the globe was just proven? Well, that wasn't what happened. So there is no part of the movie like that. There is no part of the night that was like that. We just were going through observations, and they just happened to grab what they thought was a good scene to end the movie with.
Yeah.
It's a movie, right? It's a movie. It's not a documentary. It's a movie. It's a
It's to get views, right? It's it's to get views and get people talking and
Correct.
spreading the word about it to get more views, because that's how they make money.
and they knew what they were doing, because they didn't say that I proved curve, because if they would have done that, they could have had a lawsuit. So they just put that scene at the end of the movie, and then like even though I actually went to a lawyer and kind of laid it out for them, told them what was going on, and they said to me, "Is that scene real? Did you is there?" And I was like, "Yes, that scene's real." Okay, you seen that? You saying interesting is real? Then the movie's fine. They didn't actually say anything that was false. They just what do you want to call it? Creatively put it at the end of the movie.
Yeah, and just because someone just said it in the chat, you're not implying Mektoon was shady with what he did, right? He was just going off the evidence he had from the movie.
And I don't think he's not shady at all. In fact, what he did was he took that down. So
Right.
when I confronted him with it and showed him all the evidence that they had agreed to give me the footage, that they didn't, and I showed him emails of them saying that we had seen the light at 17 feet. So I said, see, there was tons of observations that night, and you could have taken any one of them and then put it on your channel and been like, oh, it proved this. But of course, I would never do that. And I said, it just so happened that the Globe did it. Those guys are not Globe.
Hey, Jeran, can
Yeah.
you address, right out of the one of the first videos we got was Mektoon. And Mektoon looked a little, let's be real, he looked a little, unhinged when he was yelling at someone about lying about
Nathan
going
Oakley.
to
He was yelling at Nathan
Antarctica.
Oakley.
Let me just, let's be real about this. Y'all have to concede to that.
Shorten it up. It's late. Shorten it up.
Okay, so you guys went to a vacation spot that no flat earthers ever said you couldn't go to. And I looked into, the week after y'all were there, and those people never mentioned it. So anyway, Mektoon lost his shit. And
Are you saying flat earthers have never said you can go to the 79th South parallel?
No, I'm talking about Mektoon losing
Okay.
his shit.
You guys always say you can't go past the 60th without the military, blah, blah, blah.
You have to
All
look
right.
at Toon this way. Toon is like a
Can't.
WWE wrestler, right? So he plays a certain character to his audience.
Yeah.
That's just what he does. And I've even told him before, I'm like, you've never converted a flat earther to globe earth because of the way that you are, the way. But he'll flat out admit that he's not trying to. That's not his goal. His goal is not to convert flat earthers. His goal is to entertain globe earthers and at the same time keep people who might potentially become flat earthers. If they see people being made fun of and stuff, they don't want to become flat earthers, or they shy away from it. So that's kind of his intent. And I don't have shit to talk about people who are on YouTube, because I think YouTube is you get to do what you want on your channel. So I don't want anybody coming and telling me what I should do or what I shouldn't do. So I don't go to Toon and say, hey, you should be doing this and you should be doing that. If he wants to be a Globe entertainment channel, that's all. It's his business.
And we all do, right? I mean, the way Globey and I interact on TikTok with people is not the way we interact in real life on a day-to-day.
Right.
When we're at our jobs, when we're with our family, when we're with, actual friends that we associate with in person every day, we're not the same. What you get on a social media platform is not what you get in real life.
Correct.
So we all do it to a certain extent.
Yeah, we spoke about this earlier. Yeah, I've converted at least a couple dozen people that that have messaged me personally to thank me. Okay. Mm-hmm. But like we said earlier, those weren't the people I was talking to. in the live or made the video in response to. Those are people watching from the fringes.
Right.
Right. So that's the goal here.
Yeah, that's the goal.
But anyway, thank you, JT. I'm going to let him get to bed.
Yeah, man, I got to get to bed too. I got to be up in the morning to go do my thing. So,
by the way, JT's a pilot. I don't know if he said that. So,
oh, nice. Yeah, the pilot was awesome. The one that landed in Antarctica was pretty crazy to land right on that ice.
Yeah, those guys. So the guys that do go down there doing those flights, they actually go through some really more advanced training to learn how to handle, how the aircraft's going to act on ice, because I don't know if you were watching today, there was another accident up in Toronto, today where, it appears that they may have caught a patch of ice on the runway, and an airplane on ice going 120, 150 miles per hour at, 80,000 pounds is hard to handle when it starts slipping and sliding.
Well, I tell you, when we hit the ground, the first was kind of like a bump, and the next thing was into a slide. You can tell when your car's in a slide. You could just feel.
Yeah.
So the next, and
that's scary.
3-4 seconds, but
yeah, you were probably feeling the anti-skid kicking in and out too, like your anti-lock brakes on your car. It's like brake, give, brake, give, brake, give.
But yeah, that's crazy. I guess they say that pilot is the one who decides everything. That he decides whether or not to fly every day based on the weather, but nobody else has any say in it but him. Which is
we do. That's a power bestowed on us as the captain of the aircraft. We by regulation are the final authority as to if that flight will ever leave the ground or not. So it is a big weight on our shoulders, because if we make the wrong decision, we are the one that loses everything, even up to our life and the life of others.
So what's your MH370? What happened?
MH370, knowing the systems of that aircraft, because I fly the 777, knowing the systems, how they work, and what it would take to turn those systems off, it would have to be someone who intricately knows the aircraft, or that was on board, or one of the pilots themselves. And the only way to turn off the systems that track that aircraft, the SATCOM systems, and what have you, you have to go down into the avionics bay, and have to know which system to disconnect. And only a person with intricate details, like a mechanic or something that could have been a passenger, because you can't access the avionics bay from that area, call it a bad design. But those are the only people that would know that. Is someone that is a mechanic on the aircraft, or one of the flight crew members themselves.
All right. Well, thanks, guys. I appreciate it. I'm going to go.
Yep. Absolutely.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. Peace, huh?
Yep. We'll talk soon. Actually, right before you go, any plans to debate? Are you going to get into the debate realm?
Not right away. Not right away. I want to try and get my points across to my audience a few more times.
All right.
Later.
All right. Later. Then. Thanks. All right, guys. Thanks, JT. Absolutely. Thanks, everybody, for watching. Going to do a quick... Going to do a little post conversation discussion over on YouTube. So if you want to join in on that, get on over there. All right. Thanks for joining in. Thanks, Blitz. I see you in the comments there. I hope people learn something, and hope some flat earthers watch this and maybe see how you're actually supposed to react when provided evidence contrary to your beliefs. Instead of kicking and screaming and crying, yelling, let the evidence drive your conclusion. Do not yet let your conclusion determine what evidence you accept. Thank you. Have a great evening. Go over to YouTube. Hello. What is going on, everybody? Hold on. I don't like I have to do this. I don't have to do this. Can I just do that? Nope. Oh, I think I gotta do this. Hold on, trying to get my chat window up. Super fluid ceilings, everybody. I don't like this chat window. I gotta figure out how to get my chat window better in here. I can't even read it. What's the point? All right, so I might have missed some questions in there, so I apologize. Damn shit took forever. What, we on since 9? No. 9:30? Oh, damn, we almost did 2.5 hours. Oh, Nathan's so much fun. You know Nathan had to run away. He had to run away as soon as a question was asked. So he already tipped his hand, if you noticed that. I got to go tell Will. Right? He already tipped his hand how he's going to debate Duffy. He's just going to say you can't look up to measure the ground. It's like 5 out of his 6 things are the sky. I can just say sky doesn't matter. Ran into any angry Italians today? No. No Italians today. No angry Italians today. I got my chain over here, though. There's the globy bling. Globy bling. JD. So you watched that? I started watching the Witsit debate on the modern day debates. Are you talking about the one about transgenderism? Yeah, I didn't watch the whole thing. I read the first few comments in the chat were all like praising Witsit, so I don't know. That's not a determination of anything. I'm just saying I don't know. It seemed like the chat was tending to agree with him, but then again, that was a small sample size, so I don't know. I saw a lot of people saying I hate Witsit, or I don't follow Witsit, or blah blah blah, but I agree with him there. Long Island accent? No, I'm not from Long Island. Oklahoma. Ooh, could I do a post TFE review of your MDD debate with Witless and point out every point how he is wrong again now that people experience TFE? Okay. That was confusing for a second. Yeah, I could do that. I could do that if you guys wanted to. Might be interesting. Typical word salad, witless. You need to enable redirecting your channel on the YouTube Studio Community tab. I was ending a show, wanted to redirect here, but you don't have it enabled. I don't? I thought I turned all that on. I don't know if I can edit it at this point. Enable. I mean, it's too late now, I guess, but where is that redirect? I thought I had that on. redirect. I don't know what I'm doing. I don't know what I'm doing with that. I'm not gonna lie. I'm gonna have to look at the hell what that is. I found it, but I don't know. Yeah, first 25 members are up here. They're getting they're getting fisted apparently. Yeah, there was no way to really come up from this side of the fence. My angle on kind of like offering it to Jeran, not that he probably wouldn't have come here too, but my angle was, hey, do you want to get exposed to this other side over here on TikTok and let them, you know, I'm sure all of you guys here have seen him going everywhere around here already and in and out of various debates or interviews. Nassau or Suffolk? Ooh, I don't know. Now we're getting specific. I did not watch FTFE's debates. I'm not. I just wasn't so interested in that topic. Was the FTFE debate good? Did he win? Did he lose? Am I going flurf hunting tonight, Mark? I don't think so. I was going to go flurf hunting until Jeran, like, I'd asked him last week or Friday if he wanted to do Monday, and he said yes, but then I didn't see his response until today, and then I said, oh, I didn't know you responded. Do you want to still do it tonight? And then he was like, sure. And I was like, great. How's 9:30? And like, it was getting late already, and he didn't respond again for a little bit. So like, I was getting worried that, you know, it was getting too late. We were going to miss it. So I threw up a live tonight. And I was going to go flurf hunting on TikTok, but that got changed at the last minute because Jeran reached out and said, let's do it. So I hope that was at least interesting. It's fascinating to me that if you believe everything he's saying, which I have no reason not to believe, he's got a very unique perspective on the whole situation now. Rhonda's great. I love Rhonda. Right? So like, he has the unique perspective now, floor perspective, to go back and look at all the stuff he's done for the last 10 years and go, what did I do? What was I thinking? Or revisit some of those things and go, this is where I went wrong here. Right? He can now, and he said it during the interview. He's like, something clicked and now I'm seeing things differently. Right? And it's very unique. You don't see this happening too often. So. Oh, you're from Rockland County, huh? You're from Westchester? I heard Westchester's the best Chester. Max, do you have Twitter? I want to play something really funny. I do, but it's only it's my personal Twitter, so I don't think I should pull that up. I don't have a Globy Twitter. Can you send it to me on Discord? Yeah, Jeran was on the verge of understanding for a while. That's why I brought up the thing where he was reviewing what I was talking about with Derek and Caleb, because, you know, I didn't really push him on it, right? But during his discussion with Caleb, they were chuckling and laughing, and right, he even called all my viewers dumb, right? And you know, So do you go back and look at that now as him and go, what was I doing? What is my Discord? Let me pull up my Discord. Overview. Sorry. Where the hell is my invite? Woo! I'm tired, guys. Invite people. It would tell you how much I hate. Oh shit! I gotta turn off. Feel free to join that, anybody. There's Discord link in the chat there. If you haven't subscribed, please do so. If you like it. If not, fuck off. Yeah, yawning. I'm tired. I'm old, man. I'm no spring chicken anymore. Sussex County, New Jersey. Come on. No one has ever said New Jersey's nice in the history of the earth. You can play it in a private window. All right, let me check it out.
Visual space, and we're taking away the sky.
Oh, that's what you were hearing earlier? That's fucked up. Why is it doing that?
And that's going to be rough for you guys. I mean, 2024 is going to be a rough year for you guys. We're taking away satellites. We're taking away celestial navigation. We're taking away claimed Euclidean visual space. And we're taking away the sky. And that's going to be rough for you guys. I mean, there's literally no rebuttal to any of them. Like, when you claim that these things don't work on a flat Earth, we've proven that they do now objectively.
He took it all away. Where'd it go? He took away the sky. They took away the sky? Oh, because they claim hyperbolic visual space now. Not only that, but they misuse what hyperbolic means. So they just think it means you see globes. Man, somebody call Whitsett and tell him I want my sky back. That was pretty funny. Also, why the hell did it sound like a robot? That is weird.
2024 is going to be a rough year for you guys.
Let's see if it sounds like that out of my speakers. Hold on, I'm going to switch to speakers. Let's see.
Taking away satellites.
No, it sounds good out of my speakers. But when I switch to my headset, it turns into a robot. Probably just got to restart my computer. Anyway. That was funny. Did he go on to explain how he took all those away? When was this? Oh, back in December? That's a hell of a panel. What was this on? Was this Discord? Oh, Whitsett. Maybe it's just because Whitsett's talking and he's a robot. That could be true. All right, guys. Well, I hope you had at least got something out of that. I'm gonna head out. Unfortunately, no trolling tonight. I'm still waiting to hear back from my debate partners. Flatzoid's checking his schedule, guys. He's checking his schedule. And King Nico, I don't know. I gave him a whole bunch of dates and times that were good for me, and he replied back with some other question unrelated to anything. So I don't know when that's happening. But anyway, thank you. I appreciate it. Thanks for putting up with the transfer over from the TikTok format. I'll let you guys know here. I know, other than my trolling of TikTok, the nights I'm just going to go in there and jump into the lion's den. I'm not planning on doing, debates on there, right? Like one-on-one scheduled debates. Like that'll all be over here. I guess what I'm saying is I'm just, I'll try to limit TikTok stuff. I did get some feedback in one of my videos. Someone complaining about me bringing TikTok over here. So I don't know. I guess he thinks it's very lowbrow. And I get it. I see his point. It is lowbrow. But I was explaining to him, my first response to him was, do you expect a flat earth debate to be highbrow? Like, there is a spectrum of flat earth debate, right? You have, Vince or Vincent, whatever the hell his name is, from the other night with MC Toon. You have, DJ Dyko that I talked to, right? You have like Rhonda, like if you were to debate Rhonda, which I tried to do once. That was a shit show. And then, you have like Witsit and, I don't even, those guys, like at least they can formulate sentences kind of, right? But none of it's going to be highbrow. And quite frankly, I don't think they deserve any highbrow hoopla. Like, they don't need to be legitimized enough to have like modern day debates, right? They went and did this thing in New Jersey, right? Do you think they'd ever do that? And one of the subjects would be flat Earth? Like, I don't think so. Maybe I'm wrong, but I don't like. This is a debate topic for the dumpsters, right? It's for the underground. It's for us to have fun. Yeah, Nathan Thompson. Yeah, can't forget him. Nathan Thompson. Maybe I should throw him $100 so he'll debate me, huh? It'd probably be worth the shaming. Yeah, I don't know. He was kind of saying, this guy was saying that, the debates or the content is going kind of downhill on YouTube lately. And I guess you'd say the more highbrow end of the YouTube debate scene, or not debate scene, but like flat earth scene might be like Simon Dan, right? Like Dave McKeegan, right? Like they don't debate, but they'll make high quality videos and science education, right? Professor Dave. Like you got that end of the spectrum, and then you have the Toon and the FTFE, right? And like, not saying they're not educating on that side of it, but they also like to make a spectacle of it. As I'm a follower of that methodology. I think it deserves to be made a spectacle of. Yeah, Creaky. Yep, Creaky. Shifty Eyes, you met FTFE. You went to Jersey? Good for you. MDD, yeah, MDD is not great. Not the best. But who else is hosting flat Earth debates in like an official debate format. DP debunks? No, that's a person. You know, if you have a flat earther who doesn't want to do a one-on-one and that demands moderation, right? There's only so many platforms that'll take that kind of debate, right? So, MDD more than derp. Jesus Christ. Yeah, that's the problem. No reputable platform would. And that's my point. I'll go on to argue that no reputable platform should. I already struggle daily with, and for years, right? It's, you know, even doing what I'm doing is kind of legitimizing them, right? They're looking for attention. They're looking for this. Should we just like leave them alone, let them go die in the corner, right? Or should we fight them? Because there is the old adage: no news is no press is bad press. Is that it? I don't know. I'm getting tired. No press is bad press. And that makes sense to me. You know, they're just looking for attention. Any attention they get is a win for them, even if they look like a fool. Like Vince and that other dude the other night wearing the towel on his head. And Vince has a court jester hat on. They don't care what the outcome of that debate is. There's no impact on their life. They accomplished what they wanted to accomplish. Come in there, get attention, possibly get their debate partners to get angry or frustrated, and then they leave. That's it. Yeah. No one tells them they're wrong. How are they ever going to know? I don't know. Ross, yes. Towel head guy, Ross. I made some pictures today. Or last night. Ross made my picture cut. Let's see, where is it? Let's play Name That Flurf. This is not the full resolution version, but whatever. The hell is that one? Screenshots. Man, I got too many pictures in too many places. Yeah, it's a little better. Flurf's so weird. Yeah, Planet Peterson's pretty good. He's a convert from TikTok as well. Also one of Steve mid-pick. Someone spotted Steve. I just learned about Steve the other day. Thanks to IC Spin. This is Ron here. He's my Ron doll. He's a little He's very unkempt lately. Like, this is a current picture of him. He's off the charts, but he used to be more put together. He used to actually trim his beard and stuff, and he used to look exactly like that. Yeah, you got PNGs of Flurfs. Me? Yeah, absolutely. I'll take them. Send them to me on Discord. This is a work in progress, so you can add as many dumb Flurfs as you want. This guy, I love these guys. It's so fun. Oh, they really do. They love being humiliated. Oh yeah, I'm missing a ton off of here. I know. I just threw this together with what I had last night. They got to be looking dumb though. They can't not just a picture of them, right? They got to be doing something. I mean, that's not hard for them to do, but it's amazing that anybody goes, yeah, science. Let's follow these guys. They understand this science. I'm going to follow that group of raging lunatics, look like drug addicted rages. Like, look at this guy right here. This guy. That's Derek. That's Dare IK. I mentioned him a couple times tonight. He was debating with Caleb, or partnering with Caleb. I showed you guys this video the other night if you were watching. This guy was doing some crazy drugs in this video. His eyes were all bugged out. And he was, with his teeth, he was chattering. And he was threatening people's like moms and stalking, making threats about stalkers. It was crazy stuff. All right. Who is that chick? Oh, who's that chick, he says. She's someone from TikTok. She's not like that important to the conversation, but it was a very, let's see. I think I have a better pic. Yeah, it was a very just great pic of her. You know, because I'm looking for. I was just looking for like crazies, right? Nailed it. Oh, Flurf pics in the Discord. Where are we going to put those? I can't close this now. Oh, it's back here. Let me close all this shit. Yo, why is this going crazy? Just drop them in the Flat Earth BS channel. That's where they're in right now, so you might as well just stick them in there. And some good ones. There's the Steve stuff. This guy. Mike Scribner. I love Mike. So dumb. All right. Yeah, so if you haven't already, Send some pics if you got them. But you have to join the Discord to do that. So do that. Feel free to do that as well. And I will see you on another night. Hopefully another night this week. I will throw up a TikTok debate thing. We'll just go see what trouble we can get into. But it is bedtime. Again, if you haven't figured it out, Monday night's going to be my night to go live. So expect me to go live around 9:30 every Monday. Till then, see you guys later.
Please, sailing off the world's edge in the breeze. No gravity, no satellite tease. Just believe in your fantasy. Yelling about conspiracies in the night, while we orbit the truth in plain sight. So stubborn, so wrong, it's quite a plight. You believe you can shine the light.